Hey, everybody. Welcome to Critical. This is a wrestling podcast, also an action figure podcast, a comic book podcast, a movie podcast. Basically, a podcast about whatever the two dumb motherfuckers that host this show want to talk about. I'm one of those dumb motherfuckers. I'm Mongo. The other one is my co host, Liger Busa. It's been 2 weeks, and I got to tell you, man, I'm glad that the only thing that happened this week was San Diego Comic Con, or else this might be a
Mm,
long son of a bitch. And I hope you don't have any
right.
unfortunate news for me that would make me think otherwise. Oh fucking hell, man! It's been 2 weeks. How you been?
Well, I mean, last week was pretty good. I had a week of vacation. Went to see Superman in IMAX. It was about an hour and a half away from where I live, which was really cool. I mean, the screen was nice and big. It was a lot clearer than the one that we have here. Sound was really sound here is messy, and there it was very clear and stuff. So it's a nice theater too. It was really nice. And went to Walmart there. They had Hardcore Hack, which I'm never gonna get the Sandman's. I'll never see that, so I got Hack, which
Nice.
was apparently here, but then when I wanted to get it, it was gone. And I ended up getting the Sagat Jada because I walked in the GameStop there and saw this giant Street Fighter 2 box, and I was like, wait a second, what is that? And I saw it, I was like, yank straight away. It was like $35, so that was pretty good. And then as we were leaving, it was really, really hot that day and humid, disgusting. And my friends were pulling out of the parking lot, and all of a sudden just hear boom, and all this juice flies everywhere. So I'm like, what the hell is that? I look down, and his Rockstar energy drink is exploded in the heat. And yeah, it just went everywhere. And he just got this car, and now his cup holder is like a river of Rockstar energy. So that was fun. But yeah, and then I went to that expo on the weekend with my nephew. Um, There wasn't too much to do there. There was just they had different consoles set up. They had a Switch 2, a contest for a Switch 2, and they had a PS5 and um uh Super Nintendo Mini and the Genesis, and then they had some emulator handhelds. So I left those on No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000. The GBA version I left on one of them. And
Nice.
yeah, just making sure I had to leave wrestling games behind. And they had a cosplay contest, which was cool. Some Star Wars stuff, and they had a market. And this guy was selling these really crazy posters, which I picked up ones for Terminator, Terminator 2, RoboCop, and Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla. And he's Joshua HFX. His stuff is available online. It's really cool. And he also made this bootleg Turtles comic, which with a lot of references to wrestling in it, which was pretty cool. So yeah, that was pretty fun. And then, as I told you, I came back to Monday and shit hit the fan, so to speak. So,
Yeah, that story was fucking insane.
uh huh.
People are stupid.
How
It's
was your week?
Jesus Christ. Well, I had the week off from work, actually starting last Saturday. So, my birthday was on Monday, and thankfully, Retro Randy, I forgot about his Patreon until I got the email. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh shit, I never re-upped for that. And he dropped preview 4 of the ECW ROM hack, and I love that goddamn thing. He added the Elks Lodge, and what I didn't realize he was also working on was like a I don't want to say a generic arena, but you have Hammerstein and you have the Elks Lodge. He added a third arena that's basically like a regular TV/pay-per-view arena. So if you use the brick entranceway, it'll have the banners on each side like the pay-per-views would, or
All
because
right,
Retro Randy's a fucking real one, you have the TNN House entrance that he fully fucking modeled,
that's
and it
crazy.
looks incredible. Yeah, that guy's doing God's work with that ROM hack. Rob Van Dam has his Invasion '01 Guilty as Charged '01 gear, which was cool. I remember talking to Ray, I really wish he'd add more RVD attires, and Ray was like, yeah, those things are a fucking pain in the ass.
I can imagine.
Paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool that he got another attire, and some guys have faces now that didn't have faces before. Some appearances haven't been fully finished. But again, it's a work in progress. And even in its current state, it's still by far the best ECW game we've ever gotten.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it a lot. I kind of just chilled out all week. It was nice to sleep into like 7:30 every morning. Not this morning. I woke up at 5, but like having nowhere to be for like 9 days and getting paid for all of it. That's the fucking dream.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah. It was also cool because like last year my friend Sheep was here. Unfortunately, this year we'll talk about the obvious thing from Thursday. That'll be like the last hour of the show. Like anybody that wants to hear us talk about Hulk Hogan, whatever the length of the podcast is, probably skip to like an hour before the end, and there you'll have it. And like the one thing we were saying was like, dude, imagine if your flight didn't get canceled and we were both just like at the house, or imagine if we were at like Waffle House when that fucking news came in. Just Jesus Christ. So like I really didn't. I just hung out, played video games, watched a little bit of wrestling, and I followed the Comic-Con stuff because why not? And also I went and got my comic books on Wednesday. So that was cool. I still haven't read Superman Batman book 1 yet. I still haven't read a lot of the stuff from like my last 3 comic book shop trips yet. So the backlog never ends.
Yeah.
But yeah, Comic-Con started on Wednesday, way before Mattel preview night. At noon, the majors had their little YouTube panel because I guess they weren't at Comic-Con this year like that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So on the major bendies end, we've got like plaid tights Hardys coming, which whatever, I don't care. There's a Brian Myers that's going to be a Whatnot exclusive. It's based on, I guess he wore Iron Man gear at Slammiversary. Matt Cardona has Back to the Future-esque gear on his that's going to be a Whatnot exclusive. And it's really crazy that people, how do I put this? People are convinced that like the major like fan base is younger than like mid 30s because all of Cardona's gear is like nostalgia bait for people to grow up in the 80s and the early 90s specifically. And then for me, the major bendies thing, I kind of just threw my hands up at it when they announced they were doing Sabu and Joey Janela based on Sabu's last match, which just feels kind of gross. Wherever you sit on like that match relative to like Sabu's passing, like wherever you sit when it comes to that, just the optics of doing that feels really scummy to me.
Yeah, I mean it's also wrestling, so it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and it's also the majors who were part of the coalition that really wanted that final appearance Ultimate Warrior figure.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Yeah, and like the people on Twitter that don't follow wrestling figure like discourse who are like, wait, what the fuck is this? And it's like you have to explain to them like, well, here's the fucking problem with wrestling fans. Like they don't already know. So like after that, I was just kind of like, well, we've gone off a cliff here. And then they started talking about the Big Rubber Guys line, and they've signed a partnership with Major League Baseball, which I thought when I got told about it was like, oh, they're gonna do like old school starting lineup, like style, like 4-inch like posed figures because that's what makes the most sense.
Right.
And like, no, they're doing mascots. So there's the Philly Fanatic, Fanatic spelled with PH because Philadelphia. And there's the Mr. Met. And they're also doing a redeco of their USA Macho Man where he's in like Cincinnati Reds gear. Because he was.
Would they be selling those at the stadiums?
They weren't clear about it, but it seems like something you would want to have at the stadiums just because.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, but the Savage one's interesting because it's like the USA Savage they just did So obviously, this isn't the only redeco that body's getting. They're going to do like another Electric Cowboy Savage at some point.
Yeah.
They're little like the Funko Pop size line. They basically explained why they were announced a year ago, but then we haven't gotten them because I guess the factory really shit the bed on the samples they saw and nobody was happy with them. So they ate the production cost and restarted from scratch. So they're going to be, I think they said they're going to be in stock soon. For those that don't remember, that's the majors, Danhausen and Randy Savage. They announced Series 2, which is Sergeant Slaughter, Jordan Grace, Ethan Page, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So, like, half that set is on NXT TV now. Because, yeah. And then at New York Comic Con, they're going to have red, white, and blue attire majors in the Major Stars line. Because it's their line. They're going to redeco themselves 200 ways. They also showed off the box art for the major wrestling ring, which, and this isn't even controversial because they've mentioned it on their Facebook group. It's the boss fight MLW and Lucha ring with shorter ring posts to accommodate the bendies and the major stars.
Right.
Box art looks cool. I have no reason to buy it, but box art looks cool. And then we got into the big rubber guys. Sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack into the major stars. I forgot those came next. Big Rubber Guys Extreme, they showed the Sabu sketch again. I guess the extremes are going to be one per set, which parallels the AEW Big Rubber Guys, but we'll talk about that in a minute. It's Sabu in green. He's doing the point. You already know. And then they announced the next wave is going to be the Nasty Boys and Paul Ellering. The Nasty Boys are awesome from the sketches.
Mm-hmm.
It's very wild to me. Those guys do not have Legends deals right now. They're the fucking Nasty Boys. You can make a lot of money putting out action figures of them. And then they also announced they have coming in the pipeline new Sergeant Slaughter, new Andre with the afro, Hercules Hernandez, Paul Roma, Jim Powers, Tito Santana, the Rougeos, Hillbilly Jim, and many more. Just silhouettes of like the TTD artwork was shown. So these are probably still a little ways off. And then their show ended with probably the thing anybody listening to us talk about this wants to hear us talk about, the Shop AEW Big Rubber Guys Series 1. So obviously Tony Storm was announced. There is a black and white chase variant. I'll talk about how you get that in a moment. They showed off Will Ospreay. And I'm going to make a point that we're going to circle back to with the Mattel LJNs because it's very important. They mentioned like, yeah, Osprey's kind of pose where you can have him throw the hidden blade, but they didn't want to do signature poses because then they become like statues. And that's not what the LJNs were. Osprey looks great. Not the best Will Ospreay figure we saw this week, though. And then they showed off in Elite Moments Hangman Page. Now, the potential for this line is very interesting because they were like, well, if something big happens on like Dynamite, Collision, or a pay-per-view, we can basically get this into development and have the lower third up like the next week on TV. Which that kind of sounds to me like they'll do figures outside of the main line if there's like demand. Excuse me. Hangman also has a chase. It's bloody. He comes with the chain and the AEW World Title. Sketch looks cool. Render looks cool. And then we all kind of thought it when this was announced, like, there's got to be Sting, right? Like, you can't have Series 1 without him. And then they showed Sting, orange, white, and blue face paint, orange tights, blue scorpion, blue boots. This won the whole day. Damn near the best thing that was shown at Comic-Con in general. And it wasn't even at Comic-Con.
Is that a tie is that from a match of Vader, I think?
So I thought it was like Slamboree 94, but he's got the rat tail. So maybe it's like something he did in 91 too.
Yeah.
Because that's what I thought too. Like when I saw this, Slamboree 94. And then I was watching the panel this morning because I was like, I don't remember if he has the fucking rat tail or not. And then Kanik turned him around and there it was. And I was like, oh, so that's like 90, 91 maybe.
So the pose is basically like the Galoob. I was curious if like they would go with more like a original San Francisco toy makers because obviously they made a Sting in LJN style. So I was curious
Yep.
if they go with something like that, but I think Galoob, like that poses when it comes to toys, that's what I think of for Sting, so that makes sense.
Yeah, they kind of. I don't want to say they kind of shit on the pose of the San Francisco toy makers one when they did the history of video, but they were like,
Mm.
you can't really do anything other than a stinger splash here. I saw some people because it's 2025 and people love doing this shit. Like, oh, they 3D scanned the Gloob. No, they didn't.
No.
Pose is similar. The way the body is actually sculpted is totally different.
Yeah, definitely.
But we've had people doing the 3D accusations, 3D scanning accusations rather, for a long time, and some people do it, but it's almost always not the people that are accused of it. It's very funny how that works. And then, was it Tuesday night? A picture of a prototype John Cena LJN leaked, and a picture from Mattel's booth leaked with the WWE superstars, obviously LJN inspired, and right there was the LJN logo because I guess TKO has that trademark now. Um, which is funny because Jazzword had it like 2 years ago. So what the
Yeah,
fuck happened?
it is very strange, isn't it? Like, also, it's just weird. Like the LGN revival is sort of just like weird to me overall. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like a lot of them are very good, but like, who has space for all of them? You know, for me, like,
Yeah.
I would have to be very picky with what I would buy. But I can't imagine like anyone collecting all of them all at once because like it's just like where the hell do you put all this stuff?
Well, there was someone on Wrestling Figs that said he was going to collect the original line, the big rubber guys, the AEW big rubber guys, and these. And I know this guy personally, and I know what he does for a living. And one of my friends who also knows him, I was like, there's no way. Listen, near mint, I'm not even talking mint, near mint loose LJN, that's like $5,000.
Yeah,
If you're trying to collect LJNs on card, good fucking luck because a lot of them are really heavy. The bubbles don't tend to stay. It's been 40 fucking years. But like on card, if you were able to pull that off, you're getting kind of deep into five figures because that the black card set, not even the re-releases are one thing because a lot less of those floating around. But like just the big ones, the new guys, that's gonna set you back like 5-6 grand by itself.
mm. Yeah, it's crazy.
And then you get to like, and if you really want to be a completionist about it or completist, whatever phrase you want to use, you got to hunt down the original five with the stands. Good luck. Those are fucking expensive as shit if you can still find them. And then some of the blue card LJNs on card are not exactly fucking easy to find. Guys like Bam Bam and DiBiase and Honky Tonk Man, they're going to cost you a shit ton of money loose or on card.
Do you think? Okay, well, we'll talk about what they revealed. Actually, like I mean, two of the figures that they showed were King Kong Bundy
Three.
and what?
Because remember who's on the back of the card for Series 1 that they didn't reveal because of the news
Oh,
on
right, right,
Thursday.
right. Yeah, yeah. So the other one they showed was Ultimate Warrior, which are recreations of the original. And I was wondering, I know the Turtles, like for Ninja Turtles and stuff, they've done like this before, where they basically remake the old figures. So I was wondering if like that would take the original LGNs down in value, or if people are just really going to be like, look at the back or the I can't remember if it's on the back or the bottom of the shoe. I think it's on the back, right, where it's got like the copyright and the year. Like, are people going to really search out for the year now, or like how's that going to work? Because I mean, what they showed
So
were like spot on recreations.
yeah, they're 1-to-1. So my theory, and we might as well just put the LJN talk right here. Target exclusive, $25. First wave launches at the end of October. It's John Cena and Logan Paul, a new Dusty Rhodes, and then LJN Series 1 Hulk Hogan. I would say that they gave him a tan, but he's straight up black. Like he's like everybody laughs about the LJ, not the LJN, the OSFTM Jimmy Hart, where there was the factory error where
Yeah.
there's a few of them where he's like it's black Jimmy Hart. This Hogan is way closer to that than like, oh, they gave him a tan. Like the irony of it. Um, but the Hogan is Series 1, which to me, what I would have done, not even because of like, think of the value of my investments. You had an opportunity to do the theoretical, what would LJN have done for like the next series? Because they would have had to have done another Hogan eventually.
Yeah.
And with Warrior, that's like a really interesting, like super early 1989 Warrior they had a chance to do, like Survivor Series 89, like what would the actual next Warrior have looked like? So, like, from that perspective, I don't think those are particularly interesting. Series 2 also is Bundy and Warrior reissues, and then it's Stone Cold Steve Austin and Jesse Ventura. Now, the Austin thing is relevant because remember the thing I said about how the majors didn't want people doing their poses because then they're just statues?
Mm-hmm.
Steve Austin's doing his fucking corner pose, which there's not a lot of LJNs doing like that wrestler's signature pose. They all have kind of like Rick Rude didn't have the most dynamic pose in the world, but like everybody kind of had like a pose that would be applicable to fighting on some level. And this Austin doesn't. And the Jesse Ventura is in the same pose as the original figure, which, I mean, it's announcer Jesse, so that's kind of dumb anyway. But then they gave him a microphone that goes into the hand that's fixed at the side of his fucking body. What's the point?
Yeah, LGN had some weird choices, like the Mean Gene figure with the microphone, and it was nowhere near his mouth. His arms were outstretched.
I always took that like he's supposed to be interviewed because he's kind of shrugging, like, get a load of this motherfucker.
I guess, yeah, it just seemed like kind of strange to me, but yeah, I don't know why they would have gone with the original design for the commentator one, other than like, oh, this is what his old one looked like. Look at this, isn't it cool? But yeah, they could have done something
It's very
different.
half-hearted, like the
Yeah,
retro line.
I mean, too, the Hogan one, I would have gone with the white and red Hogan if you're going to recreate one, because that was like a much better figure, and
Yeah,
you could
better
just put it
likeness,
in,
better pose.
yeah, you could just put it in red and yellow.
Yeah, like the alternate chase version of it that they did. Like, and that's like my other thing. If you're gonna piss in the well with collectors with that Warrior, why not do it with Hogan too?
Yeah, I mean, they could have done like specifically WrestleMania 3 with the yellow Hulkamania shirt and
That would have
bandana.
been
I
great.
think, yeah, I think that would have made a lot more sense.
Could have done the Hulk Rules shirt with the red
Hmm.
bandana.
Yeah, yeah. If you wanted to do like more of an early '90s type thing, or well, late '80s as well. Um, I mean, Warrior. If you wanted to do something different, I sent you a picture of it. I had the Warrior, like, it's a bit water out of its mouth, but it was like it was sort of like the size of an LGN figure. And I think the Warrior I had was like 1990, 91. It actually looks really cool, and that would have been something that would have been good to do a design for, like that specific Warrior. I think would have made a really cool LGN.
Yeah, I knew people who were on like the major pod group would be pissing their pants over that Warrior, and then someone stooged me a screenshot that like, yes, they were. Um, One of my big problems with this is like the Cena is really good. Like for what these are, like they're infinitely better than the classic superstars ones because these actually have like some kind of decent sculpting.
Hmm.
But like, who the fuck wants an LJN Logan Paul?
I don't know. And when I looked at it, I was like, that doesn't look very good anyway. It seems like a waste of time.
Yeah, and like the Dusty is not very good at all. The big rubber guy fucking smokes that thing.
Yeah.
And
I
this
mean,
really feels like, do you remember when they brought the retros back because like the zombie pre-orders happened, the epic pre-orders happened, and a bunch of other people started getting in on it, and they were like, hold the fuck on,
oh, that's
we want
that's
in on
exactly
this.
that's exactly what it is. I'm
Yeah,
sure they took a look at the majors and were like, oh, look at all these names that they've got signed that they're making these of. Like, why aren't we doing this? It doesn't make any sense. So they jumped on it, but also it's like, with the retros, it's like such hit and miss, and I think the retros now are like more miss than hit. Um, and I think too, like, yeah, they should be doing like new versions of ones of old wrestlers that were part of the original LGN line. There's a opportunity to fix some of those. I wouldn't say mistakes, but like different poses and stuff, and as you said, like different attires and stuff. And I don't know. I just think that re-releasing them is it's such a strange idea. It'll be interesting to see what happens with those. Because I can see in the future people
Yeah,
are like, I bought an original Warrior, and then you turn around, it's like 2025 on the back,
that's the thing I'm thinking is loose warriors are going to crash hard in terms of
Yeah.
value. On card warriors, no, the on card ones are going to be worth a ton because that's going to be beyond just like looking at multiple pictures. That's going to be the definitive way to tell if you're getting like the Grand Toys Warrior or the new one.
Right.
And also, like, they're doing like blue card with a chase poster, black card with a super rare chase poster. And fuck me, man. This sucks. I was actually when I saw the Cena prototype, the unpainted one that I sent you, I was like, oh, there's potential for this to be really fucking cool. And this is gonna be the story of Mattel at Comic Con. There were a lot of things that on paper sounded really fucking cool. And when I actually saw them, I was just like, cool, you just saved me money. This is not the execution
Mm.
that I wanted here. And speaking of LJ and adjacent thing, let's talk the new Coliseum Collection 2-pack, which by the way, no longer Mattel Creations and Amazon shared exclusive. They're going to be straight up on Ringside. It's Jesse the Body Ventura and King Kong Bundy. Correct me if I am wrong. This is the first set that doesn't have like an actual super big name anchor that they've ever done. You could argue Jake and Rude, but Jake's a fucking huge name and everybody loves Rick Rude.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and it's also it's the first pack that doesn't have like a feud attached to it, right? Am I right about that?
Yeah, well, Steamboat and DiBiase never worked.
Right, but yeah, that's true. But it's also like the first heel set too,
Yeah, yeah, it's
unless
all
you count Blood
heels.
Foundation.
I mean, they're technically based on when they were heels, but like,
Yeah,
those figures came out not long before the babyface turn. So
but also there's a connection there. I don't really feel like much of a connection between Jesse Ventura and King Kong Bundy.
no, they were both bad guys. Now, I don't know where you stand on this, but when I saw that Bundy, I was like, yeah, zombie smoke this fucking thing. He has four
Yeah,
head sculpts, all of whom look like different people, none of which are King Kong Bundy. Um,
yeah. I basically took one look at it and I was like, yeah, the zombie's definitely better.
they did a new torso for him, which good for you. It's not nearly as like one of the things about King Kong Bundy, and I say this with all love and respect for King Kong Bundy. I have an LJM prototype of this motherfucker. When I say I'm a Bundy fan, motherfucker, I am a Bundy fan. Bundy was a big fat motherfucker, and Mattel has never ever made big fat motherfuckers in a way that does them justice. Look at every Yokozuna they've ever done. He's got those fucking like skinny, like short T-Rex arms. Like Yoko didn't look like that. And I
Yeah.
took one look at this Bundy, like legs are too small, torso's too small, arms are too small, hands are too small, heads look nothing like him. Good on you, Mattel. I'll wait for my fucking zombie Bundy. And then I turn my attention to Jesse, and somebody needs to take that fucking Batista torso away from Bill. Because Jesse Ventura has it, and he should not. Jesse was never super ripped. He was a bodybuilder, but like physique wise, he's basically like he's a less worded up version of Road Warrior Hawk.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you'd give Road Warrior Hawk the Batista torso. And if you would, you should probably be fucking fired if you're Bill. It drives me nuts because there's the Mattel Creations announcer Jesse, and he has the new Stone Cold torso, and it looks perfect. I was like, you just pop the old head onto that, and that's what Jesse looked like. And people were like, "Oh, this is so much better than the Zombie Sailor Bundy," and I was like, "No, it isn't." Like, you can dislike Zombie Sailor all you want. That's perfectly valid. I get everything's subjective, but when it comes to like this looks more like this person, that's not subjective. One of those Bundy heads looks like Michael Chiklis. All of the fucking Bundy heads zombies putting out, all three of them look like fucking King Kong Bundy. And I wanted to be like, have any of you motherfuckers actually seen this guy before? Because this figure is not what he looked like at all. And again, there was so much stuff. Like, if you would have told me, oh, Mattel's doing an Ultimate Bundy, I probably been like, there's no way, because I remember what the original Elite Bundy looked like. At least this one doesn't have a soft goods singlet.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
God.
terrible.
Yeah. But I was not impressed with this set at all. Ringside having these means they're going to be way easier to get than trying to play the game on Mattel Creations and Amazon. But The only thing I felt when I saw this was like kind of indifference, like whatever. They both look like shit. Um, we did see this is another thing. We saw a WrestleMania 13 Bret Hart, Steve Austin, and Ken Shamrock box set, and hallelujah! After 15 fucking years of not having one Bret Hart head sculpt that looks like him, we got two.
We'll
And
see if it stays that way when it comes out.
well, we saw the hand painted prototype, and typically, if something looks all right in the hand painted prototype stage, there's like a 70% chance it looks okay when it comes out. But that's a
They'll
good
find a
point.
way to mess it up. Yeah.
Probably, yeah. One thing I will say though is like Bret has the hair in his face, but it's not like the hair piece they sculpted the shit on, and it looks way better than any hair piece they've ever given him where the hair's in his face.
Yeah.
And it makes me think maybe Magic Olmos was the designer on that, because that is not a Bill McKenna move. Like everything we know about Bill, that is not what he does. Austin looks like he has the new bulkier arms and legs. Shamrock's got a giant fucking torso and skinny little legs, that's Ken Shamrock in 1997.
Yep. He's got the short shorts.
So he does, yeah. Everybody in that set has soft goods. Austin has a soft goods vest. Bret has a soft goods jacket. Shamrock has a soft goods ref shirt, which is weird because I don't think he takes the shirt off at any point.
No,
Maybe he does
doesn't,
after the match. Yeah, I didn't remember. This is such a weird. Can you remember a Mattel showing at Comic-Con where there was like less interesting shit than there was this year?
No, I mean usually there's some pretty good stuff to put out, but yeah, honestly, I wasn't interested in much. I mean, to me, the most interesting thing we haven't talked about them yet, but like the Bull Nakano, because I was like, hey, that's cool that she's getting another check for something. You know, she's got she had the original Cella retro, which wasn't very good, but then you've got the KWK and all those different variants, which looks pretty damn good. Now you've got this from Mattel, so I was like, hey, that's cool. Obviously, she's in the video game too, so.
We'll talk about those Target Legends in a moment because I have some takes which shouldn't surprise anybody. Target is getting Halloween Havoc 97 Ray as an ultimate. I don't understand the obsession with that attire. He only wears it once.
I did like the rip mask on that.
Yeah, it's a much better rip mask head than the one that Jax did.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't need another Ray in this attire. We do have
it's kind of funny, like the sort of obsession, as you said. But I mean, it's the same too with Eddie. Like whenever they do the classic Eddie, it's always Halloween Havoc, and it's like you realize they. I mean, we've never really had that Spider-Man Ray, right?
No, but Mattel's also terrified of doing. I mean, just do a regular red mask in blue tights.
I can see that, but there's also like I'm thinking of like the Starcade 96, like Liger inspired gear, and Ray had a lot of very colorful gears. There's a lot of stuff you could do.
Yeah, and they just it's Mattel. They circle back to like the same like 5 or 6 attires. I don't get it.
Yeah.
There's a made to order Jesse Ventura. If you have the gold, and I'm using gold loosely, this is more like a really shiny yellow. If you put the bandana on him, it's SummerSlam '89. The other head has like a cowboy hat. 3 heads. The announcer headset, soft goods jacket, block logo microphone. I can't imagine what you would want more from this Jesse Ventura figure.
Yeah, they really went out all out with Jesse Ventura when they got that license. Like, holy shit.
For real. We saw the Umaga in plastic. If you recall, we saw the render WrestleMania weekend. This looks awesome. If I remember this exists when it comes out, I'll get it. If not, it'll be one of those like, oh man, I could have had that figures. Right next to him, Eddie Guerrero in the purple from Great American Bash and SummerSlam. He's got the Scarface Latino Heat shirt. 3 heads. He's fucking finally got the Randy Orton hands because that's the fucking pose that he actually did. He's got the bull rope with the cowbell in the middle. This is great. No complaints here. And we also saw the Dudleys, which are ringside exclusives. They're up now. It's $80 for both of them. The Dudleys, a very controversial topic on Twitter this week, so them going up for pre-order is very funny. if I got these, I don't think I would ever need another Dudley Boys 2-pack. This is when I think of like WWF Dudley Boys, this is it. It's the black and blue camo. This is basically Rulers of the Ring Series 1 Dudleys. Um, yeah, these are basically perfect.
That what they wore. That's what they wore at WrestleMania 2000, right?
You know, I just watched that match again like a month ago, and I can't fucking remember.
I think so. Because that's what I always remember too, is them in that gear, like I think on top of like a ladder in the Titantron or something.
Yeah, it sounds right because I don't think that's what they wear at SummerSlam. And then
No.
there's a SmackDown Ultimate Edition ring with the blue ring mat. It comes with the Jacob Fatu Ultimate. If that does anything, like I like Jacob Fatu. I'm not buying a $150 ring to get
No.
Jacob Fatu. That's no disrespect intended. Obviously, Jacob Fatu is great. Um, to expand upon the Target Legends, yes, they did show Bull Nakano. She looks fucking incredible in render form. Out of everything shown WWE related, this is the thing I'm most likely to get. It's
Yeah.
like a perfect 1994 Bull.
It's interesting, like when you think about like the Muta and stuff like that, like how unlikely it seems that we'd get like somebody else from New Japan in that sort of style. I don't think we're gonna get a Chono anytime soon, or a Choshu, or anybody like that. So even though Bull Nakano was in WWE, to me it's like all Japan women. So it's like we're not gonna get like an Aja Kong or Akira
I
Hojo or
mean,
something like that.
if somebody at Fanatics is a real big fan of that Aja Kong Chaparita Sari match,
It'd be really cool if we did, but it's just interesting
anything
that
possible.
it's also like too when you talk about the zombie sailor, how you get these FMW and you've got like a retro Nita and stuff like that. Just things that you never thought would come out, and then they're here now, and it's just like a really cool thing. And yeah, I definitely want to get her figure.
Yeah, on the same slide they showed El Matador Tito Santana. I don't care.
Ariba,
They did show Kona Crush, and you would think I would be over the moon
brother.
because I was convinced that they weren't going to do this because they didn't do it the first time they had him. And then they gave him like the fucking fat guy singlet torso, and it's like, oh yeah, 6'7" Brian Adams, who was fucking jacked. Give him the same torso you gave 93 Jim Duggan, because stand those two side by side, they look exactly the fucking same.
Maybe he's
Uh,
hiding like guns and shit in his singlet.
he's got to hide all the fucking Duranaball somewhere, I guess.
Yeah.
He's got the kind of Kona Crusher hands. He's got the Shaka hands. Um, I want to be excited about this, and maybe when I see it in plastic, I'll be like, "Fuck it, whatever." Because that's kind of how I was with the classic superstars. When like I could bitch about all the attires I wish I got, but like, what are the odds I ever get another one? And then here I am, 16 years later, and I'm like, I finally got another one. Um, they also showed the Demolition Crush, and he's got the same body as Axe and Smash. And again, go look at a picture of the three of them when they're like entrance gear off in the ring together. They all have different builds. You can kind of say Axe and Smash should probably be a little bit similar. Crush though,
They they
no.
they do stuff like that. Like when they were in one of the WWE games, I forget which one it was, but like the
12.
exact same they had the exact same body except for like Smash's like forearm pad or whatever it was. Yeah, I hate that because they were very different. So to see them have the same body type, it feels lazy.
And that's exactly what it is. We have a Legends Ultimates Hacksaw Jim Duggan coming. Uh, it looks like he might have two by 4s, or there's just Deco on one side. 4 sets of hands. So you got the C grip, you got the closed fist, you got the saluting hands, you got the thumbs up. 4 different heads. There's the yelling one. There's the I'm Hacksaw, I have to make a dumbass face one. There's like a grumpy one, and then there's like a smiling one. Comes with the crown, comes with the baseball tee that he had in the catalog, and he comes with the American flag. This is a lot of work put into Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I am very happy to see it. I fucking love Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I saw him live when I was 3. I remember like being taken up to the fence and fucking him signing my 8x10 that we bought at the merch table. I don't have that 8x10 anymore, sadly. He was just super fucking nice to me. So was Junkyard Dog that night, which is funny. Shout outs to JYD.
They should
This
do
figure
a
looks cool. Oh, go
they
on.
should do a Duggan with that very short time he wore like the purple and gold WCW with the WCW flag. That would be a unique one to do. That'd be fun.
Yeah, they like doing the deep cut stuff. I
Yeah.
would not mind seeing that. We also found out the Build-A-Figure stuff is coming to the Legends line. Legends Series 30 will have Mr. Bob Backlund with the Backlund for President poster. And 31 will have the Diamond Stud because apparently we can't just shoehorn the WrestleCrab WCW gimmicks into the line anymore after Mark Callis killed it.
They probably saw that was it Top Rope Collectibles were doing the Galoob?
Oh God, yeah, honestly, yeah, I could see it. In keeping with the Legends line, we did see Legends Elite 29, which is Bobby Heenan, the British Bulldog, Rob Van Dam, and Kurt Hennig. I have a bone to pick with the Bobby Heenan and Kurt Hennig figures. The Rob Van Dam is the Rob Van Dam. It's basically the Deluxe Aggression RVD with the Money in the Bank briefcase as an accessory. No complaint here. If that's the Rob you want, this is probably the best you're gonna get. Bulldog is like 95 Bulldog in the shorts, and for the first fucking time in this line, he looks like Davey Boy Smith.
Yeah,
This does not look like.
It might be Royal Rumble 95 Bulldog. I'm not entirely sure.
See if they have it in the copy on the back of the card.
It's nice to get something different with Bulldog, you know, because you always get either like the 92 look or like, you know,
97.
97, yeah.
Or like a Bulldog that you're not going to get Dynamite with. This figure is awesome. Probably neck and neck with Bull for like thing I'm most likely to buy.
Mm-hmm.
It is for those of us that bought the New Gen arena and we're hoping we were going to get a proper like New Gen roster to fill that shit out. This goes a long, long way for me personally. I was a huge Davey Boy fan as a kid, still am. And this is the one look that's never really been represented in figure form. So God bless. I know Grapplers and Gimmicks did one, but like it looks like shit.
You could go from that to Allied Powers. Would be you could use the same head, really.
Yeah, very easily. We have a Bobby Heenan. He's in the red sequins jacket. I don't like nitpicking at like Bobby Heenan figures because I'm just happy we're getting them. But this one I have to. Why the fuck does he have a soft goods jacket?
Beats me.
It doesn't make any sense. This doesn't add any value to the figure. He never took the fucking thing off. So like, what are we doing here? And then the AWA champion Kurt Hennig, which I'm pretty sure I'm on record on this podcast saying I wish Powertown could have made. So I should be over the moon for this one. Ask me why I'm not.
Why are you not?
Because it fucking sucks. First off, the head sculpt is like bloated old man Kurt Hennig. I understand Hennig didn't have like the piss yellow hair in the AWA, but the hair is too dark. So already, like, it's a way older Kurt Hennig head sculpt than you would need. The hair isn't accurate. Then on top of that, they fucking shoehorn in a soft goods singlet so it can be WrestleMania 5 Mr. Perfect. Because that's what fucking Bill McKenna does. This figure doesn't need this, but I'm going to give it this. And on Instagram, I was like, I'm really getting sick of this shit. And somebody replied to me with, well, you would be complaining and saying you wish they had a soft goods singlet if they did the rubber top. And I was like, actually, no, I hate that shit too. And also this version of Kurt Hennig doesn't need a singlet, but if he did need a singlet, I'd prefer it was sculpted.
Right.
Because soft goods, like, it was a cool thing when I was a kid and we got those Kurt Angle figures and he had the soft goods like singlet. That was cool. Because I was like 9. It's fucking 2025. Those things do not hold up over time. And also, it just kind of looks like shit anyway. Like, the material doesn't look good. And if you look at the studio shots of Hennig with the singlet on, it looks really baggy. It doesn't look like it actually fits him at all. Like, the fucking shoulders or the straps are like already on the shoulders. And that's like a brand new, like, out of the box one that they they did this photo shoot with, the seams on the legs aren't fucking even. Like it's half-assed, and I get it. Like WWE's hot right now. The Mattel figures sit right at the top of the best-selling action figures every year, but like a little fucking effort, just a little bit.
Yeah, soft goods never really work for tears. I mean, they're fine for like t-shirts and stuff like that, but when
Agreed.
you've got attires that are, you know, I don't want to say tight, but like closer to the wrestler's actual body, like soft goods just doesn't fit them as well.
100% agree. Um, we saw some Monday Night War stuff. I was convinced the line had ended because when preview night opened, they had no new Monday Night War figures on display. I was like, there it is. And also, there's an Austin in the main line now, and they showed a Target Legends Austin, and I'm like, you don't do that if the line he's like tailor made for isn't dead, but it's not dead. We do have an upcoming wave that is going to feature the New Age Outlaws on the WWF side, and on the WCW side, we're getting Gold Tights, LWO, Eddie Guerrero, and another Bite Me Rick Steiner because we didn't get enough of that 2 years ago whenever it was made.
Nobody even liked him like that at the time.
No. And then the next wave, presumably after that, WWF side is China with the Intercontinental title and Steve Blackman with the fucking head cheese.
He doesn't come with
Shout out to. No, it's just a block of cheese on his head. He comes with a little like fucking what martial art were those fucking sticks from? That doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
The WCW side, we have Roddy Piper with the No Fear shirt, but not that No Fear shirt. And apparently a soft goods singlet. Jesus, kilt. Still thinking about the Kurt Hennig figure. And then honestly, the most interesting Monday Night War figure they revealed, we have Stid from the infamous segment where he comes out and his car has been flattened and he jumps on top of it. He's just yelling, "Go Bird! Go Bird!"
Yeah, that's cool.
And apparently he has the Concord 11s on, so like that's how you know Magic Olmas is designing this shit. That's like a level of detail that Bill McKean would never even think to put in. And then the next Ultimate after Kurt Angle, and I got to tell you, I don't like this. It's DDP from the Will He, Won't He NWO segment, which is a great segment and it rules. And this feels like their way of circling back the Dally after, like, the crowdfund didn't happen. The attire is kind of close. Like here's kind of sort of the figure you didn't get. My issue with this is if you're going to do Ultimates, I would prefer, like, they didn't say let's do fucking Superstar Scott Steiner with the black singlet since we can't do the white. They were just like, fuck it, let's do 2000 WCW champion Scott Steiner. And to me, the thing I would have liked, if you're going to do an Ultimate DDP, I want WCW champion DDP or like top heel, like 2000 DDP, like a top heel. He's top babyface. Never mind. I'm 99's when he's a heel. Or like, give me DDP from the final pay-per-view because he probably wore that same shit on Nitro anyway, so you can fudge it and have him and Steiner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just doing 97 DDP as an Ultimate kind of feels like a fuck you. And this is no disrespect intended to DDP. DDP fucking ruled. A guy that, like, the conventional wisdom greatly underrated for a long fucking time. Like, the overarching narrative that he was like a bad wrestler or whatever is insane to me. DDP fucking ruled.
I think though, in regards to like the Monday Night War line, like I thought there would have been potential to do like a lot of different names. And you think about it, like it wasn't that long ago that we had the Piper Icon shirt figure because I have that. So to like already have like another Piper right now, and wasn't there the Jeans DDP in like Series 1 or something like that?
The Jeans DDP was in the MSG Raw Austin series. That was like 6 months ago.
Well, it doesn't feel that long ago. But
and I think they just did a Tights one in that Greatest Hit series too. So this is like the third DDP in the line. There's been 3 Bookers. There's been multiple Austins.
Can we not get some different stuff? I mean,
the Eddie we're getting really isn't that different attire wise from the Ultimate.
Yeah, there's like the Monday Night Wars. I mean, you'd think you'd have a lot more names to choose from.
Yeah,
like they're doing like the Luger and the jeans and the Wolfpack shirt, you've already done like a Wolfpack Luger, and it was in the trunks, but like again, not that much different.
No, and we've had a lot of redos in that line.
Yeah.
There's two Hogans now. There's two different Scott Hall. Scott Hall, I'll give leeway to because it's Scott Hall and Razor, so at
Mhm.
least it's like a different gimmick. But you know what? Also, to my point, why are we getting GI Bro before fucking WCW champion Booker T? What is it
Ugh.
like? Make a difference, Fatu. Oh fucking boy.
That's at least kind of funny because that was a funny gimmick.
Yeah, but like, what's not going to be funny is the secondary market price on that fucking figure because the distribution's so terrible.
Right.
And I see people that are like they're pitching all of this like weird dumbass like deep cut stuff like the fucking headbangers of the nuns, which I don't think they ever did that on Raw, but I've seen people pitching that
No.
and it's like we got a headbangers 2-pack. Fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, like even if you are going to use like the names you already have, I think there's potential to do more interesting attires with them. You know, like
Yes.
that. I think the ones they choose are pretty plain. So it's kind of been disappointing so far. I mean, like like I said, like doing two Wolfpack Lugas. Like, did they? I don't think they've done like a 99 total package Luga, right? You know that would be at least
I
be
mean,
something.
no, they haven't.
That would
But
at least be
also
something
like
different.
agreed.
Oh,
I'll also say this though. I'm kind of gobsmacked they didn't do an Elite or Ultimate 97 Luger before now until you remember that Bill doesn't like Lex Luger. That's why we went for years with him under a Legends deal and we just didn't get fucking shit.
the one I got recently, the one with the different faces, that's kind of like a 97, right?
Yeah, it's based on him beating
Yeah,
Hogan
yeah,
for the
yeah.
belt.
When he won the belt, yeah, and that was pretty cool. So like, you've got 97, you've got two wolf packs, which you don't really need.
One of those
So
was the
like,
Target Legends line, though, in fairness.
yeah, um, I don't know. I just feel like they could do a lot more. Like when I was wondering like what was, I was like, oh, this is gonna be a really cool line. But seeing the same wrestlers repeated now, it's just like, really, we're already back to this. There's just so much more you could do. It feels like.
And I've said it a bunch on the show. I've never liked the weird thing where they like locking Eddie Guerrero behind store exclusive lines.
Right. Yeah.
The ultimate of him is main lines to fucking shout outs, but like I know a lot of this comes down to who they have access to talent wise. And like thankfully this is the line that got us like an Albert figure after he's been back for almost fucking 15 years now. He's 13 right
Mm.
now. He's been back and like they just never thought to do it. But then like you have the Hogan for president thing. Like, do you not have anybody from WCW you could just slot into this?
There's
Like,
got to be names that like they could sign that they don't have. I mean, there's a there's a lot of people during the Monday Night Wars.
why does Kidman not have a fucking merch deal?
That's a good question. I mean, he still works for the company, right?
I'm pretty sure he's still an agent. Yeah,
Yeah. He does like the timekeeping backstage, right?
I think.
That was his role for a long time, I think. You've also got
Yeah,
like
like,
you've got like Shane Helmsley. You could do like different stuff with him. Trigger Shane would be something cool and unique.
yeah. The one thing I'll give, like, you know, when we talk about Hogan, I'll talk about the Jeremy Cadauer post. I'm not going to bring up Jeremy Cadauer prior to that. But one thing that Jax did in the classic Superstars era was they would go out and sign, just like they signed fucking Tank Abbott.
Hmm.
Why can't we get a Tank Abbott figure?
Yeah, you could do 3 count.
Like,
Give me 3 count. Give me. Um, I'm trying to think what else
Tank
actually.
is a fucking build a figure,
Yeah,
something. Um,
give me the
I know.
wall,
Well,
brother.
yeah, that would be one.
Give me Alex
They did.
Wright.
How does he not have a merch deal? He's been at the Performance Center like 4 fucking times.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I really don't. Charles Robinson was shown as a build a figure. I am not seeing what series exactly, but I know we saw Lil Nate. I don't remember who the other build a figure was.
That's kind of cool, but if you're doing it, I mean, I understand it because he's already there. But if like it was a WCW referee, I'd prefer like a Mark Curtis or Roddy Anderson, or even like you could do Nick
Nick
Patrick and
Patrick.
like NWO, where from the NWO Saturday Night, where he's like wearing the ski mask, and you could just take it off, and then it's Nick Patrick with the mullet. That'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah, that would be neat. Um, for the Superstars line, we saw painted samples of Hurricane, the Steiner brothers, Rob Van Dam. We saw a Rock, like Final Boss Rock and Rocky Maivia 2-pack, which, okay. The Rob Van Dam is really interesting to me because it's like barefoot, like taped feet RVD,
Hmm,
but he has the Invasion '01 singlet. So does he have alternate lower legs, or are we just doing some dumb shit here?
probably some dumb shit.
And also, like, I get not wanting Nikolai Volkov to have the USSR sweatshirt, but if you're gonna fucking make a Nikolai Volkov and you're gonna put a red shirt on that motherfucker, just put the fucking USSR on there. You're not selling these goddamn things in Russia. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah. Have you
Shit
compared
was
the
40
Steiners
years ago.
to the Ringside Collectibles ones?
I mean, they're way better. And I also
Yeah.
did Ringside make them in the split blue and yellow? I don't think they did.
Uh, I thought they did.
I know they did the like red, yellow, and black from the Tokyo Dome, and then the other was kind of like a just a generic. This is what the Steiners looked like in the '90s.
I can't remember now.
But it's the split yellow and blue Michigan with the wrist tape that they didn't really wear. Like Rick did, Scott didn't.
Yeah, Scott
Um,
definitely didn't. They never wore wrist tape.
and then they showed Demolition and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I want to say on day 2 of Comic Con, and I got really fired up about those Demolition ones. And then it dawned on me, I'm never gonna find those fucking things at retail.
Yeah.
They look incredible though. Like basically Remco style remakes of Hasbro Series 1. Crush, I think, has different face paint because he doesn't have the silver on the one side. Crush looks awesome though. Um, Duggan is Duggan. I actually do think the Powertown one smokes this, but the Powertown one still hasn't shipped, which is crazy because
Hmm.
it's July 27th and those are supposed to ship this month. So,
We'll
maybe
see.
maybe the plane they were on fucking blew up. Who knows? Um, but we saw those in plastic, and then I think we saw renders for yes, another wave. Ministry Undertaker, Polka Dots Dusty, Corporate Mankind with removable mask, and Sacco and Jesse the Body Ventura, because as you said, they got that license and they're gonna make some Jesse Ventura figures. Um we saw some defining moment stuff too. We saw the Yeet Jey Uso, the Yeet Man, the Yeet Master, it's just him who's. We saw the ROH Punk in plastic, which would have been a really cool figure to me like a year ago. Not now. They're doing, and this is funny. So the following 4 figures were all designed by Magic Olmas, who used to work at Jazzwares. Tell me the thing these 4 people all have in common in this line, developed by the former, or designed by the former AEW Jazzwares designer. We have Cody Rhodes, Penta, Ray Fenix, and Ricky Starks. I'm sorry, Ricky Saints. A theme there.
Yeah. They were all in
Uh,
AEW.
yeah, it's crazy. It's like when Panini did that Jade Cargill Cody Rhodes CM Punk autograph card, and it was like,
Hmm.
oh, yeah, there's a theme there. Cody's from Saturday Night's Main Event. There's a new winged eagle that was made. I don't know if this is going to be the default winged eagle that they use now, or if it's just for this Cody. Uh, cool figure. Penta looks insane, but there was never a chance he wasn't going to. Fenix and Saints were just renders. Fenix is going to come with a soft goods jacket. Saints is going to come with the vest and whatever that fucking belt is from NXT. I I don't care about any of these, but I felt like we should talk about them because they were revealed. Um, do you have thoughts on these?
Not really. I mean, Penta especially is always going to be like I feel like it's always going to be a pretty cool figure just because of the way he looks. So,
Yeah,
um, I'm not necessarily excited for it or anything. Again, I think it's cool that those two guys, the Lucha Brothers, have figures over multiple companies now. I think it's really cool for them.
Yeah.
Ricky Saints, like I haven't been able to get over someone saying he was Brutus Beefcake, and yeah, it was an interesting comparison. And I guess he lost
That's
to
kind of an insult to Brutus.
an LFG talent on NXT, I guess, like the shitty. I think that's what it was. I think that's what they said. That guy. I didn't watch it, but I was like,
Oh my
oof.
god, yeah, maybe in retrospect, maybe you should have just said you were sorry to Edge.
Yeah.
Oh god damn. The retro line, which we kind of had our questions about, like what was the interesting thing we were going to hear at Comic Con? Apparently, it's just that after this next 4-pack, they're moving to ringside,
Hmm.
and I don't know how you feel about this, but the six figures announced were Paul Heyman using the same non wrestler body as everybody else, but at least he's a fat piece of shit, so it works. He's going to come with a microphone and the WWE title. We're getting CM Punk. We're getting another Jey Uso. We're getting a Cody Rhodes, a Jesse Ventura, and a Logan Paul. The one figure, and Jesse has the same body as Paul Heyman because, of course, he does. I don't know. Jesse's got a different torso. Whatever. Um, the one figure out of these I thought looked kind of good was Cody because he's the first figure they've done with kind of like the Mr. Perfect like stance.
It's just
And
the only retro wrestler you've got in the line is Jesse Ventura. It's like fuck that. It's just I don't know. It's like you thought you would have had more nostalgia acts as part of that lineup, and at least variations of people that you've already made, and you've only got Jesse.
yeah, it's strange. And we've maybe talked about this before, but I was thinking about it when these were shown. They've basically described the retros as a passion project, which is really funny because like there's no passion put into these at all. They're
No.
just soulless little fucking things that are put out to make money. But like they don't sell very well. Like we've heard it directly from Mattel that this line does not do great. Even for them, like on Mattel Creations, it doesn't do great. So
Yeah,
my question
yeah. Go
is,
ahead.
did somebody maybe decide it's the classic talent that's the problem? And also, like, obviously, Ringside gets a say in what the fuck they get. Like, they're the ones carrying it. They get to request the names. So did that bloodline set do super well and maybe convince people at Ringside that like maybe nobody wants kind of half baked retro figures of classic acts? It's such a freaking weird like thing because why is Logan Paul getting an LJN and a retro? Jey Uso getting a retread, I've got zero problem with. Like he's got the yeet hands going on, whatever. It's just him moves. Punk, okay, big star. But then you get down to it, and there's one person in this current lineup, and they're splitting them up into sets of three. I don't know if I mentioned that, but Punk, Cody, and Jesse are up for pre-order right now with a scheduled ship date of early December. They're 20-ish bucks. Yeah, they're 20-ish bucks each. Punk and Cody are both 22. Jesse is 19.99. Like, there's one person that connects you to the old line, and it's a fucking like it's an announcer. It's not even a wrestler. I don't know.
Yeah, I I've lost almost all interest in this line. I think the WWE retros are probably the worst retros out there when you consider all
They
the other
are, yeah.
brands. And again, like having the whole idea of this line was like to have those retro wrestlers, those nostalgic wrestlers. I mean, and like also like mix them with current wrestlers. That's fine, but you should have more than one old wrestler as part of the lineup. That to me just doesn't make any sense. And yeah, I if it was a case of where the bloodline sold really well and someone was like, these classic superstars aren't selling, then you've lost the whole point of the line, basically. Um,
Well, The
It's
original announcement in 2016, if you remember, the first wave was like 4 contemporary stars, and then they switched out Roman and Owens and later case packs for Warrior and Undertaker.
mm-hmm.
And like, it was always like, here are our current toys inspired by, because you can't say based on, because that's a fucking lie right away. You look at them, but they're inspired by the original line from the 90s or whatever the fuck. And that line was only ever supposed to be the first 2 waves. There was such
Right.
a strong reception that they greenlit more. And if you remember, like, they didn't do a whole lot of classic talent in that line after that. Like, the third wave had Goldberg, but it was current Goldberg. And then like we got a Wolfpack Sting at one point, and then the last 2 series before they killed it, yeah, there were legends, but they really did focus heavily on current talent for a lot of the original run. It was only when they brought it back that they were like, we're focusing on classic talent. And you're right, they've lost the entire point of like when they brought it back. Like we're gonna fill those gaps. What fucking gap does Logan Paul fill?
Beats me. Yeah, I just there's the thing with this line was like they would pull like an old wrestler and it'd be like, well, I'm not going to get that wrestler anywhere else, right? Um,
Right.
and now that that's gone, it's like, well, what interest do I have? I mean, I was even then, I was just like, like if they look like this, I don't even think I want them now. But yeah, it's totally killed any interest I have in that line. And if there's one good thing that the Mattel retros were for, it was like giving birth to all these other lines. You know, all the other retro
Yes.
lineups that have passed far past them. You know, I mean, we've talked about them. I think even Mitch is doing better work than they're doing. I mean, his slaughters and stuff. I think every time I see them are really impressive, and he's doing more things that I want. Like if you were going to do a retro line, like doing a Strike Force pack or something like that, that'd be sort of stuff I want. So when I look at these and I'm like, everyone's got the same goddamn body. You know, what really killed it for me, I think, it was that Jim Neidhart, that slim Jim Neidhart. I was like, what the hell is this? This is awful. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just gone downhill really fast.
Well, speaking of retros, because we're kind of done with Mattel, I don't think there's anything else interesting to talk about with them. Zombie Sailor did put up both members of Men on a Mission, made to order, orange card, did not say how long the pre order runs for, which I hate when he does that. Because it'll be like you get a random email like, oh, this is the last day. And it's like, they've only been up for 9 fucking days. Like, how did you decide that number, dog? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? These look fucking incredible. Like, and he talked his shit about Mitch, and he absolutely was justified in it. Um, I will say this though, Mabel does deviate from the design in that it looks a little bit more like the Yoko stance than the Earthquake stance.
Yes.
But this figure is fucking incredible. Mo, Bobby Horn, whichever name you want to refer to him as, he's still based on the jumper body. There's actual gold paint on these, which famously the Mitch figures did not have because Mitch tried to claim that you can't do gold paint,
You know what's gonna
which is,
happen now is Mitch is gonna redo them with gold paint. You know, like when
yeah,
Zombie announced the Ahmed, and now Mitch is doing another Ahmed.
yeah, yeah, God. It's, Jesus. We got to talk about Mitch too, unfortunately. But I was like, yeah, I'm gonna grab these. And as I sit here now, I'm like, yeah, I kind of want them, but J&J Figures is gonna have them later, so
Yeah, that
maybe wait.
not ones that I'd run out and grab. And you know, if I saw them sometime and I was like, I had the money spent, it's like, man, maybe.
Yeah, we'll talk about what I spent money on that was the equivalent of the Men on a Mission briefly. We did fuck it. We'll talk about this. KWK had a stream with the Fully Posable guys. Shout outs to them. Haven't talked to them in years. Um, apparently nothing new was actually shown during the live stream, but he did announce that I guess he
Barry
has a thing
Horowitz
called
wasn't there,
Club.
was he?
Huh?
Barry Horowitz wasn't there, was he?
Well, see, I saw how long the video was, and I was like, I bet you if Barry's here, he's going to take up about 2/3 of this shit. Because holy fucking shit. I guess he's got a club kayfabe that like certain talents are going to be exclusive to. So it's Super Delphin, Reno Riggins, Mario Mancini, Sam Adonis, Laredo Kid, Lince Dorado, Samurai Del Sol, and Metalik. And they may be moved to the main line based on fan anticipation and demand. There's going to be 3 tiers of the figures. There's the Club Kayfabe reward program for loyal KWK retro collectors, invitation only. Single variant release of a specific wrestler is going to be the limited 500 series. And then there's going to be the regular Kayfabe Heroes, which will be regular release with multiple variants, including specific store exclusives. They did not announce or show, as far as I can see, anything new. This week we did see an updated like mold of the Berserker, and we did see an updated mold of like Ox Baker. He did say they were going to save like the stuff they were showing for the showcase, but I like skimmed through that shit and I didn't see anything. So maybe
Yeah,
I
haven't
I'm also
watched
just
anything.
watch that WrestleMania weekend thing was like, brother, go fuck
I can't put
yourself.
myself through it again. Yeah, I think that Club
Yeah.
KWK thing sounds pretentious and silly. Also, the only name I'd probably be interested out of there is Super Dolphin.
Yeah, same here. I don't care about anybody else in that group. So I'm gonna check the Hastel Facebook real quick, but I feel like there was
I can't remember him saying anything this week, surprisingly.
so they did reveal the Regium card. Oh no, there was a Kimchi.
Right, that's right. Yeah, I sent you that. I completely forgot about it.
Yeah, no, I scrolled down a little bit and saw that and like, oh boy, who gives a shit? So we saw the Regium carding design. And I don't like putting this on anyone without there being like some sort of a reason for it, especially somebody who's like an actual artist. But this carding looks like fucking AI art.
I thought the exact same thing as soon as I saw it.
Which it would not shock me if Mitch hired somebody who did that. I'm not gonna
I
lie to
mean,
you.
in that case, you don't even have to hire anyone, right? It'd be pretty easy to just do it yourself.
You would think, yeah.
Yeah.
Wrestling Figure News showed me some screenshots from his last live, and I had made the joke that Mitch thinks in scale means everybody's the same size, but like, you realize that's not a joke. That is genuinely what Mitch thinks in scale means. And he had, I think they were hand painted samples of like Mongo. He looks like dog shit. The Gangrel, like we've already seen, and like putting him like side by side with Shamrock, like, look, their heads are the same size. Like, okay, everybody in this lineup is also the exact same size. Like, oh, the Rougeos and Ahmed have a different torso. It doesn't look like it. The Rougeos were not big guys. Like, you see them next to Ahmed, and it's just like, what are you charging for these, and why should I give a fuck?
Yeah.
I don't want to sound really mean when I say that, but like, especially this week of all weeks, there was so much shit shown, and a lot of it non-wrestling, that I was just like, the fuck do I care about people that aren't even putting any real effort into making sure these things are actually good?
Well, it'll be interesting to see what the reaction is to the Regium figures, because obviously he's released so many retros, but he hasn't actually released one of these yet. So I mean, we'll see what the reception is when they actually get out there. Like, how are they gonna move? What are the joints gonna be like on them and stuff? And it'll be interesting. It's always interesting when someone debuts a new line, especially in a different style.
Yeah, I'm curious to find out what these feel like in hand, because I've heard from people that recently were like, I'm gonna buy a retro to see what these things feel like, and I don't have a lot of optimism, because if the feel of the plastic apparently is on the newer stuff, at least, is a little bit cheaper than you would like, and you can't do that with something as like intricate as like the current like articulation system that Mitch is working with.
Hmm.
So yeah, we're gonna fucking see. But I thought I was in on the Raven and the Mongo, and I'm just kind of like I don't fucking need either of them, honestly. Uh, so Jazzwares, we speculated for a long time that that line was probably cooked, and then they showed up at Comic Con and we're like, no, no, we're not. Um, so earlier in the week, pre-orders for Unrivaled 18, I want to say, as I go to ringside to make sure I got that right. It's the Unrivaled set that we mentioned a few months ago that had the Walmart leak, where it was one of the sets from Comic Con last year, but with Jeff Jarrett in Penta's spot. And sure enough, that's exactly what the lineup ended up being. The Okada figure, as I think I might have predicted when we saw the Mercedes and Unmatched 12, the Okada figure is abso-fucking-lutely the Shop AEW figure with no soft goods. Um, we're getting Samoa Joe in the black and yellow with the world title, Mark Briscoe, which has a chase variant with the referee shirt. We're getting Scapegoat Jack Perry. We're getting Jeff Jarrett. Ain't he fucking great? And we're getting Mariah May, who also is she's either the rare or the chase. I didn't fucking check. Um, they had samples of all of these at Comic Con, or at least most of them. The Jack Perry looks really good. I was kind of gobsmacked by how good that figure actually looked. Samoa Joe doesn't look like DJ Hyde anymore, so that's like a big upgrade. The Mark Briscoe looks good because they haven't made bad looking Briscoes yet. And we saw the Jarrett. He was in the display with the two Flair figures. The Jarrett's a redeco of the Jarrett we already have, which was a good figure. The Flair is, I don't like the Chase one as much as I did in render form, but the regular version I actually am a pretty big fan of. I think the head looks way better on that one. Um, they also had like a screen that was like just showing the like renders of upcoming series. And it was pointed out to me that one of the Walmart retail leak series, we saw Kyle Fletcher and Hook from that set. We did not see Deonna Purrazzo, we did not see the Young Bucks, and we did not see Malachi Black, but that one feels kind of obvious. If they're replacing Penta, Malachi's got zero fucking chance of showing up. I'm assuming Mariah May is only coming because like super deep in development, you can't really
Yeah.
pull that figure now. But in render form, we saw 100% completed painted renders of, and let me scroll down here because we'll talk about the panel in a moment because they didn't show much of the panel, but there was some interesting stuff. Two versions of Ricochet, one with like the longer pants, one in trunks. The pants one has like the entrance jacket. The trunks one has the Ricochet merch shirt. We saw Commander, so you can have him do the thing in your figure fed. He has the entrance jacket. Bald John Moxley in the olive green fucking cargo pants with the camo jacket. So even when this comes out, this is still going to be relatively contemporary for Moxley. We've got Sting in an attire that I don't remember exactly, but it's like a red shirt, black scorpion, and he has like the black is like dripping down from his hairline on the face paint. I want to say that's from the Malachi Black thing, but I don't
Sounds about
remember.
right.
It's a very cool look. There's two different Chris Jericho figures, one of which is an AEW line with the stupid High Guys shirt and the FTW belt. Oh, no, I'm sorry. One has the High Guys shirt, the other has the FTW belt. So one of those is a chase. We saw a ring gear Mercedes Monet. She comes with the TNT belt. I'm going to guess no entrance gear. Shout outs to KFG. Here's your Roosh figure by Jazzwares. A few months after the boss fight one, he has the mask and the entrance jacket. So that's the one advantage I think I would give this figure over the boss fight one is it has the entrance jacket and not a shirt. Head scans on all of this stuff look really good in a way that they don't usually. We're getting Trios champion Billy Gunn, which I think is a little weird because it doesn't seem like we're getting the Acclaimed with him. And it just feels like this is too little too late. And we've kind of, hit the we're way past the expiration date on any sort of Acclaimed merch. It feels like.
I believe
Um,
this is the. I haven't seen the figure since they showed it off, but I think this is the right Sting. I'm sending you a picture right now.
okay. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, this says it's from Collision. Well, this is a picture they use. It says Collision January 6, 2024. Sting and Darby against the Workhorsemen, but then they've got a picture later on that's just Sting in his regular attire. So I don't know if he wore that day actually or not. I'm guessing not.
Huh. We
I don't think he
saw.
would have
Oh,
wore
go
that
on.
against the Workhorsemen, in that match. But
We saw Kyle Fletcher, black and red Liger gear. The chase is in the Kishin Liger inspired gear, which I think was the Will Ospreay match at Full Gear last year. Um, one of the problems with this line is that they will miss certain things. Like Fletcher has a different haircut now, obviously,
was
but that's
was
also like, go on.
was the Kishin leg match? Was that an ROH match?
He wears the white and red against. I thought he wore the white and red against Ospreay now, but now I'm second guessing myself.
Not sure.
I know he wore the Kishin Liger stuff in Ring of Honor because
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think he actually had that gear at Full Gear. My bad. He also has the shaved head at Full Gear. So that's not what this is based on. My apologies. Um, this is like I was saying. This is one of the things about the line where they're going to miss certain like key moments for characters, and you could always do a ringside exclusive where he's got the shaved head, and then people will complain. But like the mainline one, because remember that happened with Takeshita. They had like babyface Takeshita, and then they did the Alpha ringside exclusive, and people were like, well, "Why isn't that the mainline one?" And it's like, shut the fuck up. This is here right now. The mainline one's not going to be out for a few months, and it's outdated. What do you care?
Yeah.
Um, this looks cool. The aforementioned Hook, who's in like the white, blue, and gold, so clearly he's a big fan of Kota Ibushi. Comes with the FTW belt. It is what it is. We got Kenny Omega in like the green. Um, I want to say this is like the Golden Lovers kind of attire, but he might have also
Yeah.
worn this when he did with Jericho. I don't fucking remember. I try to forget that Jericho team, honestly. Um, and then the last non-vault reveal from the renders that we saw was Chris Statlander, which is updated. She's got the ring jacket. This looks great. Also, there were unpainted renders of Brian Danielson with the Owen Hart belt. It looked like we didn't get like a clear look at the belt, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Another regular line Will Ospreay, which it's probably good to get him back into the line as quick as possible, like the main line. And we saw Hologram, who is not going to be Jazzwares Vault exclusive. So those three will be coming probably at some point next year. And then for the Jazzwares Vault reveals, there's a Matt Cardona and a Chris Jericho, both for ROH. I'm assuming a 2-pack. I will be completely honest in that I cannot imagine giving a fuck about this Matt Cardona figure.
Nope.
We saw Darby Allin with the goddamn flamethrower and his like face mask. That's kind of cool. There's an Outrunners 2-pack coming. Uh, if I were Jazzwares, I would have these guys like shoehorned into the main line as quickly as possible while they're still somewhat like they're still hot right now. They're wrestling the Young Bucks on Wednesday. But you really need one of the things with this line is if you're really going to focus on getting more like ringside exclusive stuff out, you need to start getting these guys out in a more timely fashion. Dalton Castle was shown for the Ring of Honor line. Athena was shown for the Ring of Honor line with like her Angels Wings entrance gear, and just to show you how little the Major Pod social media guy knows about anything, they posted that with the Christopher Daniels figure, like as the second slide, and it's like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm not surprised that D Freedom fucking doesn't know anything about anything. He's the same guy that said CMLL and AAA run together for him, which is like, oh yeah, it's all Mexican wrestling, huh, buddy?
I think it
But
is
Athena
cool that
comes with
you have like ROH figures like Danielson and Daniels. The classic ROH figures like that. I think that's super interesting because obviously at the time they couldn't get those. ROH wasn't producing figures, so to have them now, and it's funny to think of like ROH as nostalgia, but obviously it is. I mean, it's been around for a while now. So yeah, it's cool that to have figures from that era. Stuff like the Briscoes and um, I'm trying to think who else who's been released. Jerry
Claudio,
Lynn. Jerry Lynn's another
Nigel, and
one.
Jerry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are really cool.
Um, they showed a Colt Cabana, which I think, and I'm not a Colt Cabana expert by any means, I think this is based on when he challenged Jay Lethal for the world title in the pay per view main event with the Bullet Club angle at the end.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
We got a Chris Daniels, which comes with the current ROH TV title, but the attire is like it's straight up. This is TNA Series 2 Christopher
Yeah,
Daniels.
that's another thing you could technically see it's TNA as well.
Yeah. Apparently, just the way the render is laid out, the jacket is going to be soft goods. I have my concerns about staining because it's like a black material, and Jazzwares does not have a great track record with that, but we'll see. And then at some point this week, they revealed the first Ringside Supreme exclusive, which was Jon Moxley Blood and Guts based on Full Gear 2023. Awesome figure. It's basically just a redeco of the Walmart Moxley with, I think, basically the same. You might have one different set of hands, and the soft goods are completely different. Great figure. I will potentially get it. My thing is, though, if you're going to do a Blood and Guts based on anything at Full Gear 2023, why wasn't it Hangman and Swerve?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's just one of the things I thought about. And then at the panel, they did not reveal a ton. They brought out Swerve. They revealed the Full Gear 2023 Target exclusive Swerve. He comes with the pay-per-view chair because that's, I think, the deal with the Target figures now is you get the chair from the pay-per-view. Very cool figure. There's also a Swerve and Prince Nana 2-pack coming to ringside. And I had a shit-eating grin when I saw this because I never thought in a million years that there would be a Prince Nana figure coming to Ringside Collectibles. That just seems like such a weird impossibility. And
Exactly. Yeah.
I probably am going to buy this just on general principle of getting Prince Nana. Swerve has the it's kind of like an orangish like fur jacket type thing. He has the like the gold shooting sleeves on the arms too. I don't have a really good look at the gear because I'm looking at Wrestling Figure News. It's the gear where it's like Hangman's head on the one side and Swerve's head on the other. So kind of like the Warrior stuff from Mania 7 where it was Savage on one side and Warrior on the other, but not really.
Yep.
There's also a Shop AEW Swerve coming based on a picture taken after he won the AEW World title. He's got a really cool jacket with him. I don't remember the name of the company that made it. He's got a baseball cap, obviously the AEW World title. I think this might just be the gear from the Comic-Con exclusive, but without the top. Like, it's just the regular Swerve torso. They also obviously were like, hey, come get the 1 of 1,000 Swerve. It's $40 at the convention. It is not going to be $40 when you look for it on eBay. And right at the end of the panel, because this panel was short, Swerve's in the middle of talking, and up on the screen pops up Will Ospreay with the box for the Supreme figure. They had this in the display, like finished, boxed, and I was like, well, that's coming soon. They dropped it yesterday. The Supremes are now ringside and Jazzwares Vault exclusive. That was confirmed to me by Wrestling Figure News, which, let's be honest, is probably the Jazzwares distribution is not nearly as bad as Mattel. It is crazy to me that there are people that can't find the Jazzwares AEW exclusives because I've really never had trouble with any of them.
Mm-hmm.
But this makes ordering them accessible to way more people. It is also very, very, very interesting to me that Moxley and Ospreay are both retail. They're $39.99. So same price they would have been if they were at Walmart. The Osprey figure has two sets of legs, one based on Revolution when he had the like ridiculous match with Takeshita, and then the other set of legs is from the match with Bryan Danielson at Dynasty from last year. The jacket that he comes with is soft goods, and it is ridiculously intricate. Also, the inside is like a yellowy like material, like a yellow colored material, which I pray isn't going to stain this figure. Because it's not like you can just walk into Walmart and be like, yeah, I'm fucking bringing this back. Let me go grab another one and try my luck. I don't even want to think of what the deco budget was for this figure, because like you take a look at the tights and it's like, Jesus Christ. You couldn't hand paint that shit. There's so much detail there, it's ridiculous. All three of the head sculpts are new. I should say head scans because that's what they're actually doing here. And very funny facial expressions because it's Will Ospreay, and that's just kind of what he does. Like the default head is like him reading the tweets when people were making fun of his haircut. So I bought two, one in, one out, and I also because I was like, I'm gonna hit my bank account with the fucking hidden blade. I might as well go for it. I bought the singles Briscoe figures too, and I found out the Jazzwares, if you buy in stock stuff and pre-orders, they ship the in stock stuff like because it's currently in stock. They just ship it. So we're gonna see if that holds up because it would be really cool if I got my Briscoes. Osprey's set to ship in November. I suspect people are probably going to be seeing shipping notifications in late September, maybe earlier. Actually, wait, no, wasn't there weren't the Briscoes like a pre-order last year with like some really far out date and then they all like shipped like right after Comic-Con? It might be that kind of a situation too.
Yeah, it could be.
But I said it for months on the podcast. Like they already have the body. Magic did the homework for them. You have the Kenny body. This is the Kenny Omega Supreme body. I can't imagine doing a better Will Ospreay than this. Like they could try on another Supreme. I don't think they're going to top this. This is like maybe the best figure they've ever done. It's like an all-time great wrestling figure. And I never expected to say that shit about a Will Ospreay figure. Jada Toys announced they have the license for Invincible. First series is going to be Invincible, Kid Omni-Man, and Conquest, which is weird because that's like kind of deep into the comics, much less the show. But they said they can always circle back. They've got 3 waves planned. And then Jada Toys are doing Street Fighter Alpha 3. And not only that, the first 3 figures they show are Ryu, Nash, and Chun-Li, none of which look better than the Storm Collectibles ones. Like the Ryu's kind of close. Like that one sounds okay. I can see it. Nash does not look anywhere near as good as the Storm one we just saw the articulation cut into. And the Chun-Li doesn't either. And it was sent to me, just real quick, it was sent to me, Storm might actually just be able to jump away from Alpha 3 and do other Street Fighter games. So it would be really funny if they started doing Street Fighter 2.
Right, yeah.
But like, it's cool that they're doing it.
Yeah, and it's the thing is, when I brought up earlier, like, just going into GameStop and seeing Sagat there on the shelf, never gonna have that experience with Storm. So, and for instance, like I was looking at the Storm Sagat on a website last night, a Canadian website. I think it was like $55, and I paid $35 for the Sagat. It's always going to be easier to get those Jada figures, and I think that's going to be. Can you hold on a second?
Yeah.
I just heard a scream outside, so I want to see what the hell's going on.
So, hello everyone. I'm Mongo. Liger Busa is investigating a strange noise outside. I'm hoping all is well. I'm assuming if it is not, this will be the end of the show, and you'll have to wait for our thoughts on everything else. It is currently 10:25 a.m. on Sunday, July the 27th. I need to look at the calendar. Yeah, the 27th. I am sure this is riveting audio. God, I never thought of what I would actually talk about if I had an extended bit on the podcast by myself.
Oh,
Uh,
I was just gonna cut all that out, but I'm not going to now. No, I don't know what happened. I don't think it was a big deal.
um, but yeah, no, it's. I just wish like Jada would have jumped to doing like Street Fighter 3. This really, how to put this? This really feels like they took the whole Storm Arena thing super personally, and I don't blame them. But I also wouldn't have done the exact same thing they're doing. But
It
here's
is
here's another positive to the Jada thing though.
right.
Almost 100% certain they finish the roster and Storm won't. So
Yeah, I mean, it is a case too of like oversaturating the brand or the line.
yeah,
Yeah, if they'd gone another direction, it would have been pretty cool. But again, for me, it's like all just availability, and it's so much easier to get Jada figures. And like, even if they're not as good as the Storm, they're still pretty damn good in themselves. So like, if I'm like online or like even if I'm in a store and just see them sitting on the shelves, that's I'm more inclined to get them than having to pay more for Storm and shipping on top of that. It's just an easier purchase. So I think I'm just gonna stick with Jada for anything Street Fighter related.
yeah, it's understandable. I just wish they were doing a different game is all.
Yeah.
Like 3 feels super underrepresented, and I really would like to see what they would do with, like Hugo, for example. We
Hmm.
also know the waves for the remainder of Street Fighter 2. The next wave is Akuma, Boxer, and Honda. And the final 2 figures are going to be Zangief and T-Hawk. So I know their goal was like by the end of 2024 to have the Street Fighter 2 roster completed. I'm assuming by this time next year they might be a little bit closer to that. I mean, there's only 5 figures left. Invincible is slated to release in the first half of next year, so if I had to guess, pre-orders might be like January or February. Love that comic book. Love the Amazon show. So I'm gonna be all in on those, and I actually don't mind if that completely usurps my wrestling figure collecting because I fucking really love that comic. Um,
We got away from Mattel, but regarding Street Fighter, I mean, we're getting those
yeah,
WWE Cross Street Fighter figures, which are wild.
Walmart exclusives. We're getting Ultimate Warrior as Blanca, John Cena as Guile,
Which
Sagat
is
is
very funny.
Batista.
Yeah.
Yeah, Batista, Sagat, Rock is M Bison, Bianca Belair is Cammy, and who the fuck am I forgetting?
Mm, Rey Mysterio as Ryu.
That's the one I was forgetting.
It is very funny to me that John Cena is Gale when Cody's going to be playing him in the movie.
Yeah, and not just that, he has the never give up tank top. You can't just give him a regular green tank top.
Yeah. The Ultimate Warrior Blanca is very cool. Um,
Yeah,
that's like something I never thought about, but I was like, holy shit, that makes all the sense in the world. Hell yeah, I kind of want to get that.
yeah. It's Walmart distribution, and I'm not sure how easy these are going to be
Yeah,
to find.
true.
Ultimate Blanca was like the big winner of that set for me, honestly. Um,
I wonder if they'll continue that and try to make like a movie Akuma and Guile at a later point.
that's like a different rights thing apparently because somebody asked
That
for
makes sense, yeah.
that. And then McFarlane Mortal Kombat, we did get to see the Raiden and the Reptile. And I was thinking about this the other day, completing the Mortal Kombat 2 roster, which seems to be the priority. It's very easy. There's 5 figures that are all basically the same body. It's all the male ninjas. The 3 female ninjas are all the same body. So it should be very easy to get that out in a timely fashion. And I kind of built up a little bit of excitement for the line. And then one of my friends was like, yeah, so Katana is going to be a red platinum. Now, what that means in the McFarlane line is she's going to be a super limited chase. And I get it. That's the way toy collecting is now. It sucks. My big issue with that is you could have done that chase, and then in the 2-pack with Melina, you could have put Katana in with like an effects piece for like the fans or whatever. And it
Mm.
would have meant a lot more than doing Sub-Zero with Deco he shouldn't fucking have just because, like, oh, it's Sub-Zero. Well, it doesn't mean anything to put him with Melina. Would have been a lot to put Katana with her. And
But
also, not to be that guy, if you're going to do the chases, do the fucking hidden characters as the chases. It makes more
yeah,
sense. It's kind of a fucking cute little, like, in joke.
I wonder if maybe the reason they didn't want to put Katana and with Melina is because essentially it's the same figure twice.
I mean, maybe, but you know they're going to eventually do Scorpion and Sub-Zero together.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I think they'll well, we'll see. There may be more differences between those two than what you get with Melina and Katana in regards to like body type, but we'll see. I think we should just did
But, like,
Mortal
put
Kombat 1.
Katana with Liu Kang.
Yeah, they could have done that as well.
Yeah. I
Why did they skip 1 though? I mean, I would have liked to have gotten like Kano would have been cool and
yeah.
yeah,
Well, they
just a
could
different.
still do Kano and Sonya because they're in the background.
That's true, but also just like the different attires, like Shang Tsung, quite different and is he in? God, I can't remember. He's in 2. Yes, he is. He's quite
Yeah, he's a
different,
playable
obviously.
character.
Than Yeah, he's quite different, obviously, than 1 when he's an old man. Um, I wonder why they skipped that.
So what I think it is people have canonized 2 as like the classic in the arcade.
Yeah, I guess so.
And it's weird because like I get why you would do that with Street Fighter 2 because it's like the one. Like
Yeah,
everybody played it, like some incarnation. But like to me, the big peak for Mortal Kombat is 3. But it's been canonized like it was 2, and nobody ever gives a shit about doing anything with 1.
yeah, that's
And
true. It's definitely like 2 is a peak, and 3 to a lot of people, at least I think, sort of revisionist, is that 3 is when things started to go down. And I don't think it was with 3, straight off the bat, as the different releases, maybe it sort of waned in popularity, and it was like 4 to me was like really like, okay, enough Mortal Kombat. Um,
4
but
was the
also,
actual turning point.
which one? Sorry.
4 was the actual turning
Right.
point,
Yeah.
and the series had to go away. Like the series as an actual fighting game had to go away for like 5 fucking years.
Yeah, which felt like much longer at the time, actually. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just think that would have been interesting to have the start with the first game, and then you've obviously got the natural evolution into like the ninjas for the second game and how their attire changed. Also like Goro and stuff. Like, are they just gonna throw Goro in somewhere, or um, I don't know. Those are
I
probably
made
gonna be more
peace with the
expensive, right?
articulation thing. Huh?
Like Goro's and like Kentaro and shit is probably gonna be, I imagine, more expensive than the regular figures.
Kintaro almost certainly is going to be like what does he call the really big guys, like the mega figures?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, Kintaro 100% is going to be $40. Khan 100% is going to come with a throne and he's going to be like $50.
Yeah, it'd be like the Dark Side set they did with him on his throne, they did for Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah. I I made peace with the articulation a long time ago also because I realized these are based on video games where, and this is me coping 100%, but these are based on video games where they had like real actors digitized.
Hmm.
So like having them kind of sort of mimic what humans can do makes a little bit more sense. But also that Liu Kang figure is an example of why I kind of wish somebody else had the license. And I don't want to fantasy book a toy line because like this week taught me there's no reason to. But like you see the Liu Kang, they did the sculpt before they cut the articulation in instead of having like a clue of what the articulation was going to be beforehand. That's why he's got that like weird cut at like the diaphragm that
Right, yeah.
looks like fucking shit. And so like the articulation is what it is, but the aesthetics of the figures when they cut the articulation in, not great.
Mm.
And like I hope this line does well. I also kind of hope within like a year or two somebody else picks the fucking license up. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And nobody's asked what's next after Mortal Kombat 2 because they also don't specifically say this is Mortal Kombat 2, but it's obviously Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah, I think it'll do quite well. I mean, it's Mortal Kombat and the retro designs. I think, people our age and, people younger than us have seen these designs through like the newer games as well. And you got the collection coming out soon. So I think they'll do really well. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens after that. There's a lot of stuff you can do with Mortal Kombat as well.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's separate licenses as well. But if you could get the movies, if you could get access to the old movie, there's just 100 things you could do, which I'd love to see like a Christopher Lambert raid, and I think it'd be great. you know, um, and the new movie, like the Shao Kahn, sorry, design is I like that. So I think you could do something there, and I don't know. I think, like I said, there's just a lot of potential for all different things.
Have we recorded since the trailer came out? Because if not, that's another thing to throw into what we've got to talk about this week.
God, I can't even remember.
We'll talk about it anyway because I have thoughts and they're mostly good, actually. Um, movie figures would be cool. Some representation for the fucking PS2 era would be cool.
Yeah, that's sort of like the black sheep of the Mortal Kombat franchise, and no one really brings up those PS2 characters too much.
And it's weird because like Jazzwares, like the first line of theirs I ever remember were the Mortal Kombat figures in the mid 2000s.
Yeah, that's
And then
right.
they got the license again for Mortal Kombat 9. And at the same time, we're doing Street Fighter figures for like
That's
one
crazy.
wave, maybe.
Yeah.
It honestly felt like when I was little and they had the G.I. Joes for both games, I was like I was happier than a pig in shit. And then I think I only ended up getting the Reptile and Sub Zero, and then everything else I wanted sold out on the Toys R Us website and immediately went just insane on eBay.
Yeah.
Like, look up the Cyborg Ninja box set, 3 3/4 inch one. The price on
Oh
that,
yeah.
not good, not
Yeah, I've
fun.
seen those. Yeah.
Um, but like they only made a handful of characters based on those games, and I don't remember them making a ton of like. I don't think they made any of the Deadly Alliance characters. And to me, Deadly Alliance had the most interesting new characters out of the PS2 games because they had the fucking dude that had the like Oni mask and the club, and his whole gimmick was like his body was rotting. So he had Draman, that was his name.
Draman, yeah.
And you have Blaze, which you can do two different versions of. You could do him as like a mega fig when he's like the boss of Armageddon for some fucking reason. I want a zombie Liu Kang.
Yeah, I mean, and
Honestly.
that's did they do what did they call like zombie Liu Kang in the newer ones?
Oh, Revenant?
Yeah, that's right. Did they do one of those?
I think Mezco had the license for MKX.
Wouldn't be as cool as him with like the chains around his arms and shit.
No, and I love that like he's got to have some sort of bullshit because everybody's got a weapon stance. So let's give him the nunchucks.
Yeah.
And there's the alternate costume where it's not like the chains with like whatever. It's like actual nunchucks. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a ton of potential with that line.
I think too is like the PS2, they were more out there with the designs. Like you think of somebody like Reptile, who they really
Yeah,
went crazy with. So I think maybe if you
Shaolin
produced a
Monk's reptile is the best though.
yeah, but I think some people, the companies might look at those and be like, we don't want to touch this stuff; it's too complicated. So just like let's just make a ninja. It's what everyone loves.
Oh yeah, but McFarlane loves doing like bullshit, like detailed, intricate sculpts.
Yeah, that's true.
I think if you showed him fucking Shaolin Monk's reptile, he'd probably have an aneurysm. Like, oh look at all the detail.
He's probably thinking, how can I fit Spawn in this line as well?
Can we get Spawn in the Legacy collection? God, that would be crazy.
That'd be cool.
Just bury a completely new character in like Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. You use the unlock cheat, and there's just fucking there's Spawn, there's Al right in the middle of the screen.
It'll be
Um,
interesting to see what surprises they do with that. Like, are they going to add some of the PS2 games? Because there's stuff that they're not talking about. So we'll see.
yeah, I'd like to see more PS2 representation, and honestly, like part of the reason I like some of those PS like 2 era designs is like they kind of feel like they'd fit in with Mortal Kombat 3, just like kind of the more out there aesthetic those games had.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's probably is that it for like the relevant discussion for Comic Con?
Oh God, I feel like we forgot something because there was so much stuff going on.
Oh, uh, Hasbro revealed X-Men '97 Series 3, and it was the exact lineup that had leaked from Marvelous News like last year. It is Cable with the big guns. So if you have the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 Cable, congratulations. You have to buy another figure to get his gun. We have Street Gear Wolverine, which is the generic Street Gear Wolverine from X-Men Task. So this works
I like
perfectly there
that.
too.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
the
it's an awesome figure.
yeah the like yellow shirt and stuff and red jacket or the brown jacket. Like really, I think it just looks very good in toy form.
It does. Yeah, I love that figure. We've got Morph, we got Jubilee, we have Sunspot or Roberto da Costa, whichever you prefer to call that character. And then who the hell is the sixth character in that wave? Emma Frost,
Oh,
which is
that's
crazy
right.
because
Yeah,
she's like a background character in the Genosha stuff. And
yeah,
then, if that wasn't enough, the 3 2 packs that were leaked are also real. So you're getting Wolverine and Storm in their costumes from the finale. So Wolverine is in the, as my friend Cara calls it, the piss and shit colors. Storm is in her like original black costume. We've got Cyclops and Jean Grey from the finale. So it's like the cover from the Dark Phoenix saga, if anybody
mm.
remembers that, with the Fate of the Phoenix. So if you wanted like a Silver Age Cyclops, here you go. If you wanted Marvel Girl Jean Grey, here you go. And then like maybe the funniest of the 2 packs is Gambit and Rogue from the basketball game.
Yeah. That's kind of interesting. Where's Beast?
Yeah, he's. I was really hoping we were going to see like a deluxe Beast or something, and I don't know. Hasbro's very weird. I know that figure goes for a lot on the secondary market now, and like you might not want to ruffle the feathers of the dumbest people to collect action figures, but like he needs a new figure. There's no way around it. There needs to be a new Beast soon.
Yeah.
They also announced a made-to-order Mephisto with the throne, and this thing is fucking sweet. I have not checked Hasbro Pulse to see how much they're charging for it because I kind of don't want to know. But now that I've said it, I have to. Because I was kind of like, oh, yeah, I might grab that because it's a very cool looking figure. And Hasbro Pulse is loading like absolute shit for me right now. Oh my
Also, they
god,
could have
why
done
just
like they could have done like Captain America from the show as well.
yeah, but I want them to focus on like the mutants before they do like the oh, Mephisto's like $80. That's not bad at all. This figure's awesome. Um I saw like a fake, what I'm assuming is a fake leaked lineup for Series 4 that had Cap in it,
Oh, okay.
but it also seemed like a weird mix of people were expecting for season 2, and also there's just Cap at the end. So I don't know. I do hope we get Beast before they do the new X-Men secondary mutation and he looks more like a cat.
Mm.
Nothing against that look. I want 90s Beast before we get anything else. Um Looking at the case display of the Mortal Kombat figures now, because I did not realize Toy Arc actually had photos up of this. Scorpion Spear has a bendy wire in it. I don't think that's ever been mentioned prior to like the past week.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I really want Robin Shu, Liu Kang in this fucking line.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
I don't care what we have to do to get it. I want it. Um,
Give me
okay,
Art
is it?
Lean.
Yeah, give me Lyndon Ashby, Johnny Cage. Give me animatronic Goro.
You could literally do like, would you do like a? Could you do a build a figure reptile?
You probably could.
It'd be cool if they had like the statue, the statue that he fell into, with all like insects and stuff. There's some crazy ass statues in that movie.
Yeah, that movie is wild.
There's one of like its rib cage open, and inside there's like a little creature or something like inside of it. It was nuts.
That movie does not get the credit it deserves for having like really good like just cinematography and like set designs and shit.
Yeah, they really knew what the fuck they were doing. They said we're gonna have like a unique visual style, and like they nailed it. Like often when I think of like Outworld and stuff, that's what I think of is like the imagery from that movie.
Yeah, same here. Mondo showed off more of their Masters of the Universe 2000s line. These things are amazing. I hate that they're going to be like $100 each because I think He-Man's, which yes, he does have the dick purse, as we
Yeah.
pointed on the show. Um, they don't have the price. Yeah, they didn't have the price for him, but apparently He-Man and Clawful will be available in September. Skeletor and Man at Arms will be available in November. Depending where I'm at financially in October, I might grab the He-Man just to kind of get a feel for what these are going to be. The sculpting on these is incredible. The paint master they have of He-Man, they weren't kidding when they said these were going to look like if you shrunk down one of their 1/12 scale figures. This thing is unfreaking believable.
Was
They
the
also showed off they're doing like 1/6 scale like movie TMNT figures.
Oh, right, okay.
Those are going to be like $200, which blows.
Was there any talk about like figures for the new Masters of the Universe movie, like how those are going to be distributed?
Not yet, but I'm gonna assume that Mattel has the first crack at those.
Yeah, it was interesting because I was expecting them to show something, and I guess all they did was show the logo for the movie. Um, I don't know how that's going to turn out, but I was interested in at least seeing how the figures looked because from what I read, like the costumes are going to be pretty accurate, so I thought it'd be interesting.
I'm curious to see what the characters look like in that. Also, apparently Mattel are doing a He-Man like 2000s line, which is that's a choice because you literally loan those characters out to Mondo. But these look more
Yeah,
like the cartoon toys from the 2000s, so I don't know if they're targeting the same collector base here. It's crazy how much like Masters of the Universe stuff is out there, and that's
yeah,
not like
no,
a knock or anything. Like Mattel has really saw the value in that brand, which is weird because I don't think the general public has seen the value in that brand in a very long time.
no.
I liked the Kevin Smith series, and I'm gonna
I
get dragged on social media if I say that out loud.
I watched the first and I just kind of thought it was boring. Like I wasn't really interested in it. Um, yeah, I don't know.
I canceled my pre-order for that Blu-ray set because it was like, oh damn, I'm gonna get charged for that like tomorrow, and I don't get paid until like Wednesday kind of thing or Thursday kind of things.
Yeah,
And apparently that shit is sold out now. So
no.
yeah, I don't want to check Blu-ray.com and find out it's like actually like the first good transfer Mill Creek has ever done. Oh, that shit's available at Walmart. Okay, well, I that's in stock at my store. What?
Ooh,
Interesting. Is there? I don't want to have to go into my local Walmart though. That's like kind of where it begins and ends. Because I don't.
see, it,
Walmart.
it doesn't make any sense here. We have like a Walmart on the west side, and like they had like the Monday Night Wars and like Luger Ultimate and a bunch of like WrestleMania stuff. And then on the east side, we've got a Walmart superstore, and all they had was like May Young and Seth Rollins, and that was it. It's like, but you're a bigger store. You're supposed to be the superstore, and they have nothing. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of wacky. Oh god damn it! There was a link on Google that was like $29 on Amazon, and I was like, oh, maybe I just didn't search for the right thing. And no, it took me right to the page where it's like, nope, this is unavailable. Go fuck yourself.
Meh.
Uh, I guess I'm gonna have to go through either the Walmart website or like those no good resellers on eBay.
Yeah.
But it got a 7 out of 10 from Blu-ray.com, which is not
Hmm,
nothing. I will say
not
that.
bad.
Huh. No, it says highly recommended. So
That's a passing grade.
yeah. So the Mortal Kombat 2 trailer, I don't remember. Let me go look at the date this was uploaded, and then we can figure out. That was not up the week of All In, right? That was the following week.
I believe
Yeah,
so.
9 days ago. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we have not talked about this. I am on the record as not being real excited about that movie. Uh, just the first one left a really sour taste in my mouth, and I actually watched it before I went to work. Um, not last Friday, but the previous Friday. Like the day my vacation started, I started it off as badly as you possibly could by watching that fucking movie. And that movie sucks. There's not like Hiroyuki Sanada and Joe Taslim try. That movie is just doo doo. This movie already looks like it has more going for it from the trailer than the previous one did. It's still doing the like we're in the blue room in Atlanta kind of thing, and the lighting's a little weird.
Yeah.
But I've also accepted a long time ago with Mortal Kombat, you can't do most of this shit outside because the amount of work you have to do in post production is just ridiculous.
I think
Um,
too is that they work on that stuff to like the last minute. So there was times when I was looking at it, I was like, "Ee, that's like very blue screen, quite obvious." But like they're going to be working that, until the movie's ready to go. So that stuff could very well change and look better by the time it comes out.
I'll say that Carl Urban Johnny Cage was that was like a big brain casting decision. From what we get of him in the trailer, I have zero problem with it. I do kind of take exception with it framing it like Johnny Cage is going to be the main character, only because I don't like that that's the direction the video games have kind of taken as well. I don't know if somebody at NetherRealm or Warner Brothers decided we can't have the Asian guy that's been the protagonist for 30 fucking years be the guy, or if the people writing it were just like, we can't have the Asian guy that's been the protagonist for 30 fucking years be the guy. But I'm very weird about my Mortal Kombat. It would be like Ryu not being the main character of a Street Fighter movie.
Right.
It would be like casting Guile as the main guy in a Street Fighter movie. Oh wait, they did that and I actually like that movie. Never mind. But it would very much. It's like they're doing this fucking big Street Fighter cast with all these celebrities, so the budget for that's going to be ridiculous. They're never going to make their money back. But imagine, like with that cast, if Andrew Koji Ryu wasn't the main character, even though you
Mm.
have Akuma, even though you have Ken, like you have everybody you need to make the movie a Ryu movie, but they've got 40 fucking people in it. So like, imagine if like, oh yeah, Cody as Guile is the main guy. It would suck.
I think
And
when I read like the spoilers and stuff, it did seem like the movie was split between like Johnny Cage and Katana, and it sounded like
it's so weird.
Katana was really the standout of the two. So
It's
was
just a
that
weird thing because like Katana being the number two character in the movie makes sense if Liu Kang's the number one because they established that hard with the first Mortal Kombat movie in the mid '90s, and that's been like hard like game canon ever since.
right? Yeah. To me,
Um,
what's funny about it too is that they're introducing Johnny Cage, and it's like, oh, he's being exposed to this brand new world of like Mortal Kombat and Outworld and all these creatures and everything. And it's like, well, wasn't that supposed to be the purpose of Cole Young in the first movie? It's like,
yeah, why do we need another audience surrogate, and why is it one of the most recognizable characters from the game?
why didn't you just do this with the first movie then? Like, why was Cole Young a thing? Why didn't you introduce Johnny Cage in the first movie and tell this story of if he was like supposed to be our eyes into the world? It's like you've done that and now you're doing it again. It feels very strange.
I think it's because the writer in the last movie was just a huge mark and wanted to have like his fucking character.
I think I also read that they wanted a celebrity for Johnny Cage, and maybe based on the first movie they couldn't get it based on the budget. Um, I
Maybe.
wouldn't I wouldn't say Carl Urban's like the biggest celebrity, but he's done very well for himself. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I really liked the trailer. The first time I watched it, I actually watched it without sound. I remember now because I went. That's when I saw Superman, and we were watching it in the theater, me and my friend, without sound. I was like, "This seems alright," and then watched it later. I was like, "Okay, I liked it more and more." I really like the little bit that we've seen of Shao Kahn. I can't remember
Yeah, that's a
the
big
actor's.
motherfucker.
Yeah, I can't remember the actor's name, but like the dude is ginormous. And it's like I can't imagine hiring anyone else for this role because of the way he looks. He's just like a freak of nature, kind of. Um, yeah. So I'm really looking forward to him in the movie. Um, Katana looks cool. There was a there's a lot of bullshit about the actress playing Jade and how Jade is bald, and it's the same actress from the Naughty Dog game, Intergalactic, and she was in The Last of Us as well. So, there was all a hubbub about that, and none of these people really give a fuck if Jade's bald or not. We know that.
No,
Um,
it's culture war bullshit and it's annoying.
yeah, and it was cool to see Raiden had more of like a MK2 style outfit at the start there. Um,
Yeah.
we had Scorpion Noob Saibot, who gets cut in half. I feel like there's something that's like a misdirect. I feel we didn't see Quan Chi in the trailer, but he's in the movie, so that maybe could be like a Quan Chi thing. Playing with Scorpion's mind or whatever.
It
Uh,
seems
but
like the NetherRealm's gonna have like a pretty sizable chunk of the movie, which I'm fine with.
yeah, that's really cool. Baraka I thought looked pretty damn good. That
Yeah, Baraka looks awesome. I was not expecting that.
there was that leaked image from a while ago, which ended up being real, and it does seem like when he's in motion, his mouth is CGI, but when he's like standard, it's practical. I think I might be wrong about that, but that's what it seemed like. And that scene too of him fighting Johnny, and it's on a real set. I think this just looks really neat. I mean, it looks like something out of the more modern games with the comps that they had in like I think it was like 11. Um, so yeah, I thought overall it was really. It looks like they've learned their lessons from the first one. I know they did seem like very open ear to like fans uh complaints and stuff like that. At least that's a perspective that I got just like reading some stuff online and Todd Garner, the producer's posts and stuff like that. It seemed like they really did listen to some of the things that the fans were complaining about, and I think the whole like tattoo thing is gone. I might be
Oh, the
wrong.
Arcana. I hope.
Yeah,
Well, no, because Kano says the thing you don't have any powers to Johnny Cage in the trailer.
yeah. So it might still be, or that might be just case that he just hasn't unlocked them yet, and they just don't bring up the tattoo. That wouldn't surprise me. Um, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, if it is there, it's there. Like, I mean, this is established in the first movie, so it is what it is. But
I would just ignore it, honestly. Also, watching the first movie again, Kano getting the eye laser because that's his Arcana instead of it being like he has the fucking Terminator fucking implant that's like been part of
oh,
his story from the first fucking game.
and the funny thing about that is that Todd Garner did an interview with like a Mortal Kombat YouTube channel recently, and I guess he said that Kano at some point is gonna get the metal eye. And if he's gonna get that, why didn't again? It's a case of like why didn't he have that to begin with? Like why wasn't Johnny Cage in the first movie? It's just strange decisions there.
Because like the eye laser is not like a power that Kano
No,
has.
no, no,
It's
no.
a fucking it's a cybernetic enhancement that he has. This shouldn't be tied to whatever your stupid fucking that Russo dude needs to be like thrown off a bridge for that movie. Like, oh, I'm gonna respect the Mortal Kombat lore. No, you didn't. And Todd Garner took a lot of abuse on Twitter that he did not fucking deserve. All of the
Yeah.
abuse for that movie should have been directed at the writer because fuck him.
I
Jesus
also
Christ.
think I mean I've talked about it on here before, but like worse than Kano was Jax's arms where he's got like these small metal arms and his Arcana somehow gives him upgrades to his
It activates
technology?
the arms.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, like his powers activate his. No, it sucks.
Like
The
what
whole
is this
fucking thing sucks.
what is this Arcana like nanobots or something? Like how does that I never understood that. I was just like this what?
And also, why are Liu Kang and Kung Lao just fucking assholes in that movie?
I guess when I think about it, I guess they were kind of dicks.
They were just complete fucking assholes to like Kano,
I
and
mean, the first
not
thing
even
Liu
in the
Kang
fucking
does is
like,
he throws a fireball at him, and then he goes, "I am not your enemy." You just set the guy on fire.
and not just that, like it's not even their assholes to Kano and the "you're an annoying fucker and I want to beat you up" way. They're like just snobby fucking elitist assholes to him. And I'm like, granted, Mortal Kombat does not have like a lot of deep characterization and lore. Like the comics are kind of just what they are. If there's novels about Mortal Kombat, they're obviously off to the side. The games, the writing in the games fucking sucks. But like, sorry about the burp. If you asked me how I think Liu Kang and Kung Lao would speak, basically how Ryu is characterized is what I would go to. Like super respectful, like
Yeah, humble.
kind of like like the humble, like aw shucks kind of guys. Like they're serious about their training, but they're friendly. They were
Mhm.
just complete fucking assholes, and I was like, oh yeah, no, you've never played one of these games because like even in Shaolin Monks, which I've been replaying until I got to the fucking giant snake thing, and fuck that, because that's like the most bullshit fucking part of that entire game. I thought that 20 years ago, and I still think it now. But like, they're not like complete assholes in that game. They're very much like we're fucking fighting for Earthrealm. And in that movie, they're just like they're two snobby little douchebags. They don't even fucking do anything.
I think the actors that were cast though could have been good in that humble role. Like I thought they themselves were fine. But yeah, the writing for them wasn't great.
No. So we'll see about Mortal Kombat 2. That might be the third movie I go see this year in theaters. Because I was gonna go see Superman on Tuesday, and then I was just kind of like, nah, I don't want to go. I had the whole week off. I was just like, eh. And then Thursday, when Fantastic Four came out, I'm like, oh, they still have Superman. I could go see both of them. And I'm like, I don't want to leave the house. And so, yesterday or Friday, one of those 2 days, I was like, oh, they still have Superman next week, and they do bargain Tuesdays at my local theater. So, like, if Superman, they have Fantastic Four, I get off work at 2, Fantastic Four at 4, Superman at 7:15. I can make that work.
Mhm.
So for $14 after convenience fees, which drives me fucking crazy that we have that for movie theaters, I'm gonna go get to see both of them. I'm looking forward to it.
I'll
I've
let you.
heard that I might actually like the Fantastic Four movie. Everybody's told me I'm gonna like Superman, which makes me think I'm gonna just not like it out of general principle. I'm kidding.
I
Um,
I'll say this about when I went to see it again in IMAX. I had pretty much the exact same experience. I was sitting there and I was like, yeah, the stuff with crypto at the start. So I was like, yeah, I know all this. I've seen it in the previews as well. And then when you get to like an action scene and then it just like it's off to the races from there on. It's like, okay, yeah, this is great. Like I liked everything all over again. It was like I was seeing it for the first time. It's a great movie, and I'm just like really excited for Peacemaker next month. Actually,
I have to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, so I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna brave 8 hours of work, come home, take a shower, change clothes, charge my phone, and get up to the theater. And I'm basically going to be in that movie theater for like 6 hours.
I remember I was like I couldn't sleep one night, and the next day I think I worked like a longer shift, and then me and my friend were going to see Rogue One, and we actually ended up in different theaters accidentally, and I fell asleep during Rogue One, and I woke up was like Darth Vader attacking everyone at the end of the movie, and I woke up and was like, oh shit, and I was like, what's going on? This is really cool, but yeah, like I missed everything else.
Yeah, I'm also not looking forward to seeing what my hometown theater charges for a Pepsi now.
Ugh,
Because
yeah, prices are
if you think I'm
crazy.
paying $6 for a Pepsi, you can Pepsi Zero these nuts. Real quick before we talk about the obvious thing at the end, couple of things that I got in the mail that I want to talk about. I got the Sting box set.
Oh, very nice.
Um, those figures all look tremendous in person. I am kind of concerned about the durability of the booklet box. I wish they would have
Mm.
just done a straight long box for it, but that's nitpicking. The Superstar Sting, I think WCW Worldwide pointed out the paint is from '87. The tights look like the tights he had against Ric Flair in 1994, but I don't think they are. Oh, right. Jazzwares line. Wrestling figure news may or may not have stooged a couple of things he got out of the brand manager from Jazzwares. They're working to get more Supremes and Blood and Guts out. Want to tap into Legends, but legal makes it tricky. Sting Legacy, though, shows they can. Want to focus more on modern ROH going forward. Thought that was important.
What makes it tricky? Because if you can do Sting like that, what's stopping you from doing other wrestlers?
Yeah, I don't know. But also, you look at the big rubber guy Sting, and it's like, oh yeah, no, they're just doing Surfer. That's like an attire you can point to and go, that's probably what that is. I think it's just Jazzwares being scared at this point. And I was told, I think I said this on the last podcast, like, yeah, I would probably expect like more Legends in the next video game. That all of the Sting stuff they've done has like kind of proved, and all the Legends they're signing have kind of proven to them, like we can fucking do some shit with these guys. The 99 Sting is really cool. That's probably the best Crow Sting head sculpt we've ever gotten. It's perfect.
I really want that. And it was funny to me, I don't know if you saw on Blue Sky, but I pointed out to WCW Worldwide, like, WCW would not take multiple photo shoots. Like, they would take, the Crow Sting and, like, Photoshop them to have Wolfpack colors when they would release, like, Wolfpack figures and merchandise and stuff.
Yep.
And they would do the same with, like, Hogan and Savage and everyone. But that 99 Sting with those leather pants and that cloak, they did a photo shoot with that, and there's like multiple pictures you can find from that shoot. Like they're all over the place. And it's so funny that he wore that like twice and that was it. But it's weird. It's like a attire that you're like, it's interesting because it was so rare. And I would just love to get that figure.
And I like so that one's the Legend Sting, and then the current Sting is like Icon Sting, which cute way to get around saying Surfer, Crow, Joker.
Mm-hmm.
But great box set. It is $100 on Jazzwares Vault. One of 6,000, so it's probably going to be around for a minute. One thing I want to say is, I might have mentioned this 2 weeks ago. Someone on Instagram was like, I can't get past the historical inaccuracy. Surfer Sting with a black robe, Crow Sting with no tank top, Joker Sting in a bomber jacket. And I was like, well, Surfer Sting had black robes. There's a WWE DVD cover with Sting in that Crow attire.
Mm-hmm.
And the Joker Sting wore the bomber in AEW. And the person didn't have a snarky reply. They just liked my post. And I was like, okay, so yeah, that was a fairly pleasant interaction. I also got the FTR 2-pack, and I got a fucked up face print on FTR Gunn. His left eye is like slightly lower than it should be, so it looks like, when Peter Griffin had the stroke on Family Guy. I'm not gonna get mad about it. It does suck that it's like a 1 of 3,000 and we have QC issues like that, but I also don't know of anybody who has that QC issue, so maybe this is just something I did to offend God.
Maybe.
Soft goods look very good. It's the current ROH tag belts, but you can't really do anything about that. It's very funny. On the side, the numbering is not ROH numbering. It's AEW Unrivaled numbering. And the VHS label says All in London, but the packaging says ROH on it. I'm like, almost certainly. Let me grab this little sumbitch real quick. Yeah, no, there's an ROH logo on both sides of the outer box. And when you get into the inside of the VHS box, the VHS label says ROH Living Legends, Cash Wheeler, Dax Harwood. So
weird.
Yeah, it's just one of those things with Jazzwares, but they're very good figures. I'm glad I got them, and I'm looking forward to seeing those Briscoes in person. Obviously, I've been talking about the Supreme Osprey every time we talk about Jazzwares, so I'm very excited to see that in person as well. And that's probably it for the Comic-Con talk, unless you've got something else.
Well, one figure related, one Comic-Con movie related. So the figure related thing is I got the unsanctioned Road Warriors.
Yes.
Kind of disappointed. I mean, the shoulder what do you call them? Like the shoulder pads? I don't know what you would call them. They're
Yeah.
they don't fit on great. Like in the box, like when I was picking up, like Hawks were shaking, and then like getting them out the package, they don't fit on like perfectly like you would hope. Also the figures are like very loose. Like Hawk can lean all the way back like he's doing the Matrix. And I was trying to put like the new to change the hands to make the pose where like Hawk's like standing above animals lean down. And I noticed like the animals the closed fist, the pin doesn't move. So his hand is like sort of leaning on one side, and it's just sort of awkward. And overall the figures just feel very loose. Like at one point like the midsection broke off, which the reason they snap into place. So it's not a huge deal, but it's also like, 10 years from now, if I pick them up, are they just going to fall apart and the snaps don't work anymore?
You
Um,
gotta contact ringside.
oh, I did. Yeah, I did. And
Okay.
so far, I haven't got a response on it, which is, I honestly don't want to send them back because, like, that's such a hassle. It's just like, fucking just send me new ones. But that might not be possible with them. I don't know. But
No,
yeah, it
they'll
was.
ask for a return. 100% they will.
Yeah, I expect it. But yeah, it was just kind of disappointing. I did check the board, the wrestling figs board, and I did see somebody else that was saying they were loose too. Um, so I mean, we'll see if it's a more widespread issue. But yeah, I mean, the figures themselves they look cool, and it's always nice to have Road Warrior figures. I mean, the goddamn Road Warriors. And in those New Japan attires as well, very cool. It's just like the looseness and the pin that doesn't work and stuff. It's just kind of sucks. Um,
Yeah. I wonder if that's a problem with the second run because I don't remember that with the first run. I never had that issue.
it might be, and you think it would be the opposite, right? Like the first run comes out and there's a problems in, then they fix them. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna check my email and then check the board again and see if anyone else has had any issues. But yeah, it sucked because I was super impressed because like I don't know if they like do a pre-clearance or whatever, but like they spent like 1 minute in customs, and I was like, how was that possible? And they came and there was like no customs fees on it and anything like that, and I was like, that's awesome because you stuff coming from the US today, you expect the worst, but they got
Oh,
here no problem.
speaking of duty free stuff, Title Run Toys made a post on their Instagram story asking if free shipping to Canada and duties paid were offered if you would order right now. And I don't know if you saw that story and replied like, "Yeah, I'll order the fucking Jumping Bomb Angels if that's the case."
I
Um,
didn't reply, but yeah, hell yeah, I'd get the jumping bomb angels for sure.
um, they also announced Nikita Koloff. He's got the clothesline pose. Makes perfect sense.
Um,
Um,
I don't know if you saw this wasn't the other thing I was going to talk about, but did you see the is it Top Rope Collectibles that does the Galoob?
yeah, I haven't paid attention to them in forever.
They released an image of Bagwell, and I don't know how to put this.
Hold on, let
It,
me.
it looks like a stereotype, but not of like Bagwell.
Oh,
Do you know what I
I'm
mean?
sorry. I just saw the Orndorff, and that is horrible. Oh
Look,
no.
do you get what I'm
Oh
trying to say there?
yeah.
Yeah, it looks really strange.
Yeah. Um, that the way the head is painted, that does not look like Buff Bagwell. That looks yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, these figures are not good.
yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. The other thing I want to talk about is Predator Badlands. I don't know if you saw the new trailer that they released recently. Um, God, that movie looks really cool, and it comes out the day before my birthday, so I'll definitely be seeing that.
Nice.
And also, for those who don't know, they released a new ending to Killer of Killers on it's on Disney Plus. Yeah, I guess it's Hulu in the US.
It's on Disney
And
Plus if you have the Disney Plus Hulu combo gimmick.
Oh, okay. I may as well spoil it. I mean, it's not really big, but like when they showed the character from Prey and like the cryo chamber at the end, the camera pulls over and then they show Danny Glover's character from Predator 2, and then over again, and you get Dutch in one as well. And they actually play the Predator theme song from the movie The Predator with like the more like electric guitar sounding or whatever it is. So I don't know what they're gonna do with them. I assume that they're gonna do more animated movies with like Dutch and I forget what Danny Glover's character's name was in the second. Um, but that could be cool. Apparently, Dan Trachtenberg has said like he's had conversations with Arnold and what they could do with the character. Um, in Hunting Grounds, they had a cool idea where they had a skin for an old Arnold, and there was like these audio tapes that were Arnold himself talking about like how he was like going on missions hunting predators and stuff, and that sounded really cool. But obviously, if like in regards to like the movie canon, if he's been like frozen all these years, then the video game's not canon anymore. But also, it's very weird that they left Danny Glover the gun and were like, "Hey, let's go back and kidnap him." Just a weird thing. But I don't know. We'll see. It sounds like they've got some ideas, so could be interesting. I mean, I
Real quick. Oh,
oh
go on.
sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say, like, I trust Dan Trachtenberg after Prey. I thought that was a great movie. So, and I'm glad that the Predator franchise has like someone like as a figurehead of it, because that's not something I would have ever expected, and especially in like 2025. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So, real quick before we move on to the obvious thing, and
Mhm.
that's going to be a long son of a bitch at the end of the show. DC announced a whopping 2 new compacts at Comic Con, one of which is Frank Miller's classic, The Dark Knight Returns. The other is the original Batman White Knight, which is interesting. That's a
You know,
choice
the
I didn't think they
Nightwing,
would have.
a Nightwing one as well, right?
I only saw the 2 Batman ones.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but I think they did. I've read White Knight and I enjoyed it.
I am kind of gobsmacked that Dark Knight didn't make it into this line way sooner.
Mm,
It's because it's that story, and I have the absolute of it, but I will be buying the compact for sure. The only one of these compacts I'm not buying is the Tom King one because fuck him. Uh, book has great art from what I've heard, the Supergirl book, but I just fuck Tom King. Marvel didn't announce shit for Premier Collection books, so I'm assuming maybe New York Comic Con they're going to be like, oh, here's 3 more coming next year. And it's so weird because in the top 10 for last month, 3 of them were the Premier Collection books. Unfortunately, Black Panther is not selling quite as well, but Daredevil was very close to the top. Winter Soldier was up there. Fantastic Four was up there. They need to adjust their strategy. Fuck this MCU synergy stuff. Start putting out the actual like where's Craven's Last Hunt? Where's Dark Phoenix Saga? Where's Fatal Attractions? Where's Fall of the Mutants, Mutant Massacre? You can literally the trades that cover those. You can just stamp the Premier Collection shit on them, and you're off to the races.
yeah.
But Marvel has a lot of problems on the publishing side right now, which is a shame. Because I do think there's a lot of books that would make for really great Premier Collection books, but I digress. Because Thursday, I'm in mid conversation with Wrestling Figure News. I think he was waiting to get into the Mattel panel. He just sends me Hogan died, and I was like, what? And because we had heard from what is it the past month, Bubba the Love Sponge, like, oh, he's not doing good. He's in really bad shape. They took him home and they're just trying to keep him comfortable. And it's Bubba the Love Sponge. He gives a shit, right? And then
Yeah,
like the news came out.
when I first heard those, well, I first saw those posts, I was like, huh, okay. And then he starts talking more about it, and then there's like people that straight up denying it. And like the day before Hogan passed away, Jimmy Hart was like, "Oh, Hulk's doing great and everything." So I didn't really put much thought into it after that.
No, yeah, we just did karaoke. Okay, Jimmy.
Yeah.
And when I told my mom, she was the only person around me that I could actually be like, dude, I started laughing, and mom was like, what? I'm like, Bubba the Love Sponge was right. Like, that's my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, I
And
actually found out through my mom. I was working at the time, and she told me.
yeah, that's wild. And my aunt called the next day to make sure I'd heard, and my mom was like, "Yeah, he heard like right after the news broke." And we often talk on the show about like it's the wrestling business. Everybody's a piece of shit. These are not like simple human beings. People are complex. Blah 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 blah. Um, there's no way to eulogize Hulk Hogan without mentioning all of the outside the ring stuff. And if there's things you want to say, I'll let you go first, and then because we're both going to talk at length about this, and I don't
Yeah,
want to step over each other. So, do you want me to go first? Do you want to go first?
I'll go first because
Okay.
I mean I just want to talk about before we get to talk about like the outside the ring stuff. Like I don't know if I could put into words like how big of a Hulk Hogan fan I really was when I was a kid. Um, I there's two times I remember crying about Hulk Hogan. One was we went to the UK, I think, to visit when I was really young, like probably like 3 or 4. So we wouldn't have been in Canada for that long at the time. And for whatever reason, my grandfather always used to call him Hulk Hagen. Like, I don't know if it was just his accent or just how he thought it was pronounced or what. But I thought when I was a kid, I remember like 3 years old or what, I think he was doing it on purpose, and I started to cry because like it's not his name. And when my sister told me wrestling was fake, I was like, I don't understand. And my mom cried because I didn't understand how could Hulk Hogan be not a real person? He's like AI or something. Um, so yeah, I was just like a massive. I mean, I was born in '86, so a ginormous Hulk Hogan fan. I mean, obviously, I bought everything WWF in general, but the focus was always Hogan. Like, I obviously had his LGNs, I had his Hasbro, I had, like the really tall. There's like really tall him and Piper figures.
Mm-hmm. I have that
Yeah,
Hogan.
yeah, I had that. I got that. It was easier to get wrestling merch from like a flea market back then, so I definitely picked that up there. And I had like from England, I had like a bootleg Hogan sweater, a blue sweater with the WF logo, but like Hogan had like a brown mustache and like a green bandana or something like that. I mean, like I had every piece of Hogan merch you could find. I remember being disappointed as a kid when we went to a house show and they had sold out of his bandanas because that's like the one thing I wanted, and I ended up with like a hacksaw Jim Duggan, uh, 2x4 or something. So yeah, he was like my hero as a kid, and it's you get old and he started to like fade out of the spotlight. And you had like Bret Hart come up and Diesel. I was a big Diesel fan and Razor and everything. And then NWO again, just a ginormous NWO fan. I had the fucking vibrating figure of Hogan and like everything I could again. And even going into like 2002, I had the Hulk Still Rule shirt. Still a huge fan. Um, and then yeah, I watched when Hogan Knows Best came on. I watched that. I watched Celebrity Championship Wrestling and stuff. And you hear stories about like, Hogan held this guy down and used his political power and stuff. To me, that's like the smallest thing of it all because these are grown men. It's like business, like whatever. Like, yeah, a lot of it was bullshit. I think, especially think like Sting at Starcade '97 was the worst of all. But again, it's grown men. They can sort these things out for themselves. It's politics. It's wrestling. Yeah, of all the things, that's like the lowest possible thing I could care about at the end of the day. Um, and then of course you had like the sex tape coming out and the racist rant, and then it's like how could I possibly support this person? And then there was other stuff too, like when his son was speeding and got into an accident, and his friend they were talking about being in a vegetative state, his friend, and then there was audio of Hogan saying like, "Oh well, he wasn't a good person or whatever," and shit like that. And it's like, holy shit. And there's the tweet I was reminded of the other day, and how he told the UK press like the song Hulkster in Heaven, the fan that he mentions that was James Bulger, who, if you don't know that story, I wouldn't suggest reading it. It's really depressing. Um, and if you know that story, you know how awful it is. But like stuff like that, like, I don't know how someone could say something like that if it's not true. which by all accounts, that I don't see how it was true. And just like all the lies and stuff. I mean, some of it was funny, like when he would talk about like the attendance and slamming Andre, who was 10,000 pounds or whatever bullshit. It's like, yeah, that's really funny. And then other stuff was like, how the fuck could you say stuff like that? And then it's like supporting Trump and just really gross shit. So when my mom told me the news, there was that initial shock of like, oh yeah, Bubba was right, like holy shit. And then I was like, "Oh yeah." She's like, "That's surprising." And I was like, "Oh well, they did say he was sick." And then there wasn't like any like I wasn't like sad or anything. Again, my hero growing up, but I wasn't like upset or anything. It was just like, yeah, he's died. And you go. I made a post about it, and I was like, I grew up with all this Hogan merch and everything, but it's hard to you feel much for someone that was a racist and said all these horrible things and stuff, and that's how I felt about it at that time. And a few people liked that and retweeted and stuff. Funny enough, though, there was a few months ago someone posted a picture of Hogan and he looked like the end of Total Recall when their eyes are like bulging out, like Ronnie Cox and Arnold and the
Yeah.
actors. So I posted the gif of Ronnie Cox from the end of that movie as a response. This was months ago, so you can tell what got retweet liked more at that day. It wasn't the genuine post about Hogan. It was the gif of Ronnie Cox with his eyes bulging. And there's like a lot of people celebrating and stuff, and I didn't feel like in the mood for celebrating. I was just, again, I wasn't upset. It's just like it's just like I didn't really feel anything. Um, and I again too like I whatever WrestleMania was when Hogan appeared, and when I was a kid, all I wanted to see was Hulk Hogan at one of these shows I went to, and I never got to see him. And I saw him at this WrestleMania, and obviously it's years after he was active as a wrestler. And I was a little drunk too, but he came out, and this was after all the stuff we knew about him. And I was just like, I don't care. Um, and That's something else I was gonna bring up. Oh yeah, and then you see like all the people that are like paying tribute to him, and there's really crappy AI stuff, and like Brute Testmarker posted this image of Hogan surrounded by these other dead wrestlers, and it was like this Australian guy with a mullet, and everyone's like, "Who the hell is that supposed to be?" And it was just you saw multiple AI posts like that, and it's just really dumb and stupid. And I was just like, "Oh, this shit is just the worst." And then so something I was thinking about then the next day too when I saw WWE's tribute on him, and I did feel like a bit of sadness, but also frustration. Again, not necessarily the fact of his passing, but it was just like, why couldn't you just be a good person? You know? It's like everyone who was a fan of Hulk Hogan or watched wrestling because of Hulk Hogan should have this feeling of, yes, sadness and also like celebration of his career and stuff. Like, this is, people are going to bring up like Austin or Rock and stuff, but to me, of how big he was for me as a kid, this is like the biggest wrestling death of my lifetime. And something like this should have a huge impact. And, it just didn't feel like it. It just felt like this guy who's done all this horrible stuff has passed away. It was very strange considering how big of a fan I was when I was a kid. And I think that aspect of it is just the saddest of all, where, you're someone who, when you look at your accomplishments and everything you did, you should be celebrated for what you did. But because of the real things that you did and the real things that you said, it's just not possible, or at least in my eyes and to a lot of other people. And I think that's kind of the worst of it of all. Like, I don't want to die and have people being like, oh, yeah, he's dead. Oh, this horrible person has died. That's the last thing I would want. And to see that because of his own actions, I think is just incredibly sad. And I guess that's what
Yeah.
I've got to say about it.
So how to put this? I try not to think about what I'm going to say when I know we have to talk about people that have passed because I don't want anything that I say to sound rehearsed. Like I walked around my house for 3 fucking days trying to figure it out. So I did think about what I was going to say. I just know that I'm going to talk for a long time to close the show, which is why I wanted to afford you the ability to talk first, because I didn't want to talk for like 45 minutes and then you'd be like, all right, well, we're done. Um, again, it's a very complex issue, and I don't think anything is cut and dry because nothing in life really is. The Benoit thing is, absolutely. Hulk Hogan is the most important wrestler to pro wrestling history in terms of the modern era. There's no disputing that. The biggest mainstream star in the history of the business, probably no disputing that. A guy that if you watched wrestling in the last 40 years and you popped up on social media the last couple of days to act like you never had one happy memory of pro wrestling that involved Hulk Hogan, whether he was on the winning end of it or otherwise, you're fucking lying to yourself. All of this can be true, but what's also true is he was a weirdly specific, almost cartoonish kind of racist. He was a conniver, a backstabber, a liar. And I don't care what Jonathan Snowden said on fucking Twitter about how preposterous he thinks the Jesse Ventura Union story was. Vince McMahon was asked about it in deposition and fucking basically confirmed it. So Hogan was a union buster too, which has, of everything that Hogan did, it had far more negative impact on the history of the business going forward, because how many of the guys that were on those cards with him would have benefited from having a union, having a players association, having a retired players association, where they could have had a 401k, where they could have had insurance, where they could have had access to things that they wouldn't have had now. A players association could have also been like, okay, well, our ring's hard as shit, and we used to work at these other places where the rings weren't as hard. Could have potentially improved the working conditions. Our schedule is this. The other guys work this many dates. Could have improved the situation. Like, there's so many variables to the union situation that, like, how many of those guys we've like mourned and maybe even shed tears over, have been like, fuck, man, I can't believe that guy's dead over the last 30 fucking years. How many of those guys would still be here if Hogan hadn't fucked up a unionization attempt? And granted, if it wasn't Hogan, it probably would have been somebody else, but Hogan was the one who viewed himself as having the most to lose. So he fucked everybody over. And that's really shitty. The stuff he said to Nick in the phone call that you referenced, when I believe his name was John Graziano, was, basically a vegetable. I always remember the picture of him where, for lack of a better term, and excuse my lack of tact, he looked like a half deflated basketball. Like, his son did that to another person, and they're on that fucking jail call, like, oh, he just had negative energy, and like, in saying like, oh, I know we're not going to be reincarnated as black guys or whatever the fuck the actual verbiage. He says black guys in Carney, but like, I'm not stupid. I can fucking speak Carney. I'm a wrestling fan. I'm in my 30s. I fucking get it. And like, I see people acting like all of this is secondary to their memories of who Hulk Hogan was. And I hate to tell you, this is, and I don't want to fucking argue about what's worse between Hulk Hogan and what Chris Benoit did, but you very much cannot fucking talk about him as a wrestler without talking about him as a person. The conniving and backstabbing, that bleeds out on screen. Watch that Savage and Elizabeth program from '89, and then think about what Hulk Hogan does to that marriage a few years later. Like, it's right there fucking in front of you. And like, all the predatory stuff with WCW and like the contract, and he plays a huge part in that company fucking not existing anymore. And all the stuff with him and his ex-wife, and like the weird falling out with Brutus Beefcake, and just the Trump support too, which I was talking with Rudo Reels about this. I wasn't even fucking shocked. Like, when he came out and did the promo at the RNC, I was just like, yeah, why wouldn't he? I'm not stupid. I saw this coming. And even if he hadn't done it, okay, he's still a racist piece of shit. Like, fucking, who gives a shit? And in a way, it is a very fitting end for him that the last time he was on WWE television, he was getting booed out of the building while trying to evoke the names of people that the fans listening to him wished were actually standing in front of them. When he brought up Savage, they booed him. When he brought up Andre, they booed him. because we had finally hit the point where there was no fucking chance Hulk Hogan was ever going to have goodwill with the larger portion of the audience anymore. For some of them, he had, in fact, crossed that line. And as I say this, I'm getting really fired up. And I was maybe going to say some nice shit about Hulk Hogan, and maybe I still will, but like, I can't imagine, I cannot conceive of, I cannot begin to understand how you can look at all of the other shit and go, yeah, but he was my hero when I was a kid. Listen, man, I talked about this on the podcast, what was it, a year and a half ago when the Janelle Grant lawsuit came out. And I talked about how everybody fucking took joy in sending me the shit implicating Brock Lesnar. Like, it sucks finding out that one of your heroes is the fucking piece of shit, man. And I've admitted on the podcast, I've never tried to absolve Brock Lesnar of his guilt or alleged guilt or whatever the fuck in that scenario. I'm pretty sure I was on this podcast saying I don't fucking ever need to see him again. I haven't bought any Brock Lesnar merch that he would directly make money off of since the scandal, because I think I'd actually pre-ordered 2K24 before that. So there you go. Actually, I don't think I did. Maybe 2K24 would be the thing. But you can't live your life sticking your head in the fucking sand when somebody you watched as a kid does something bad. Like, this isn't Mark McGuire took steroids, but he's still my favorite baseball player. This isn't fucking to parallel to another wrestler. This isn't, yeah, Dick Murdoch was a Klan member, but he's been dead for 30 fucking years. This is a guy who, as of 6 months ago, he wore a fucking MAGA Power shirt into the venue in Inglewood. This is not a guy that had ever shown any sort of serious contrition or remorse or acknowledgement for anything he did wrong. And yes, some of the lies were funny. The Metallica thing was funny. The I almost played fucking baseball was funny because he wants to fuck with Savage after Savage has been dead for over a decade. The 700 Club thing was really funny because you can listen to Jim Cornette and Brian Last just rip it apart. And it's like the least problematic Cornette clip you're ever going to hear because he's shitting on somebody who's a bigger piece of shit. But there's all of these people who act like none of this matters and like, motherfucker, grow up. It does. It absolutely does. You can acknowledge that he's your hero. You can still talk about him as a wrestler, but do not take exception when people bring up who he actually fucking was. It's ridiculous to me. I can sit here and tell you about a million Hulk Hogan matches that I like, and I'm always going to add the caveat that he's a fucking piece of shit. I don't like the character of Hulk Hogan for any of these reasons. I never liked him because of who he was outside of the ring. I thought he was a funny guy to watch wrestle and was genuinely a lot better than he got credit for. But none of that matters when you talk about him in the grand fucking scheme. This is a guy out of everyone in the history of professional fucking wrestling should have had the most bulletproof, sure thing, guaranteed, that's that motherfucker legacy when he died. He spent 20 fucking years, 25 fucking years doing everything he could to sabotage what should have been the most sure thing in history. SmackDown last night should have been a 2-hour Hogan tribute show, but it wasn't because of Hulk Hogan's choices. Because of who Hulk Hogan was as a person. The fact that like people dragged AEW for not saying anything about Hogan to the point they felt like they had to is insane to me. The same fucking people that were mad that Owen Hart was celebrated when he never appeared for AEW were blasting AEW for never saying a word about Hulk Hogan, who Tony Khan had famously said on Twitter was banned from their shows. Tony Schiavone did the classiest possible tribute for a guy that didn't fucking deserve acknowledgement at all. And for me, I can poke my head in on Twitter and see that Elliot's Wrestling Twitter account arguing with people about Hulk Hogan as a worker. And you know what? Like, there's a time to reevaluate Hogan as a worker or a time to evaluate him for the first time. This isn't that time. There's a time to celebrate the hero that he was to you when you were a kid. This is not that time. We don't need to lionize this motherfucker because we just found out he died. We do not need to debate the merits of, well, how bad was the racism actually before his body is cold? We know what it is. He said it. He said the words, "I'm a racist." He had very weird, specifically cartoony racist things to say about the kind of black man he wanted his daughter to marry if she, quote, had to marry one. This is not a good guy. This is not somebody who you can just brush the shit to the side and be like, oh yeah, it's Hulk Hogan. Like, yes, he is such a massively important part of a lot of our fandoms, especially those of us that are a little bit older. Yes, he was a guy that we all had action figures, and fucking I had the Hulk Hogan like role play kit that Hasbro put out in like 91. I got it in like 93 for Christmas. He was a guy that was on a lot of pay-per-views through multiple different incarnations of his career. All of that's great. I have a lot of fond memories of watching Hulk Hogan wrestle. I also have a lot of memories of, and it should also be noted, he died 10 years to the day of the racism being exposed. And isn't that just a fitting way to go out on the 10th anniversary of being exposed as a piece of shit? But I have all of these memories of just finding out more and more increasingly fucked up shit about who Hulk Hogan was as a person. And to me, that's his legacy. Not Mania 3, not Mania 5. Mania 6 goes a long way to the whole backstabbing, conniving thing, but that's not even how I'm going to remember him. For better or worse, and Hogan's in a lot of my favorite WWF matches. I watched the Boss Man Cage match the other day. Like right after the news broke, I loaded up the Saturday Night's Main Event, fast forwarded right to it, watched it, because Boss Man is incredible in that match. But to me, the lasting image I have, like if I had a Wikipedia in my brain, the Hulk Hogan picture at the top is him getting booed on the stage at the Intuit Dome in January. Because that's who Hulk Hogan was, a pathetic old man who destroyed maybe the greatest legacy you could ever ask for in professional wrestling because he did not know when to just shut the fuck up and go away. He could have just shut the fuck up and made like bi-yearly, yearly, every 6 months appearances for years, and people would have been excited to see Hulk Hogan. But instead, he did the reality show, which was only funny that one episode where Brian Knobbs was left in charge of the house. It's the only episode I remember. Oh no, I remember the one where the Mark comes to their house too, and that's fucking, yeah, whatever. Like, I can't think of anybody. Ric Flair is not going to have this reception when he dies with all of the things that he's done. Ric Flair is a giant fucking douchebag too. I'm willing to bet you when he goes, the reaction on the negative end is going to be far less than Hogan because, yes, Ric Flair is a sex pest. That's about the only thing we got on him. And yes, that's bad. It's horrible. It's awful. But I'm willing to bet you it's going to be a lot easier to swallow that and talk about Ric Flair for what he was as a performer and a worker and a wrestler and what he meant than it's going to be about Hulk Hogan. Because, yes, you can pull up the Dark Side of the Ring clips of the woman he assaulted on the plane on the way back from England. And that's like one on-record incident. With Hulk Hogan, there is no shortage of clips and quotes and articles and pictures and all of these other things. You are not going to be able to show me anything good Hulk Hogan did that I can't counter with 5 things that he did that were incredibly fucked up. And at this point, I kind of don't ever want to see or hear about him again unless I decide I need that fucking 80s nostalgia hit, because you mentioned the 02 Hulk Still Rules run. That coincided, and I think I've talked about it on the show, that coincided with me buying all the Coliseum videos I could from the video store, a lot of which he was on the cover of, a lot of which he was prominently featured in, a few of them he actually was the subject. And I dove fully into that era, and I've always loved that era anyway because I grew up with cousins that had the Hasbro figures and the LJNs and some of the pay-per-views we recorded. And like, I loved Superstars. I love WrestleFest. And God knows I love the Hasbro Hogans I have too. But it's like, none of this really matters. Like, my own selfish memory of who this guy was is dwarfed by the reality of who he was, because I saw a lot of people saying, if Hulk Hogan was the person I thought he was when I was a kid, I would be really sad right now. Unfortunately, that's not the case. And I like that I saw that because that shows some maturity on the part of the wrestling community. Unfortunately, it's been dwarfed and drowned by all of the people refusing to admit who this motherfucker was. And this was a trial run. Yeah, actually, I was going to mention that you posted that on Blue Sky. This is a trial run for what the Vince McMahon discourse is going to be like when he goes, which hopefully is very soon, because I hate the idea that that guy's still breathing. But listen, I've bought Hogan figures in the last few years. I bought the Coliseum collection with Terry Funk. I bought the Mania 1 Ultimate they did. I bought 2 of that. And, fuck me for supporting Hogan. I bought nothing of his since. I I don't anticipate that changing. They did show the Hulk rules, like ripped shirt ultimate, and I was like, oh, they're gonna get me on that one. I don't know now. Um, it'll be easier in a few months or a few years when like he's not going to be around anymore. You can say whatever you want, buy whatever you want, because he's not going to make any money directly off of any of this shit. But like the complete cognitive dissonance probably is not the word, but just the complete collective ignorance of a bunch of people, and I do mean ignorance in every sense of the term, as it pertains to Hulk Hogan, is insane to me. You can absolutely acknowledge what he meant while also acknowledging who he was. And to do one without the other, and this absolutely goes both ways. To acknowledge one without the other is disingenuous. Again, wrestlers are complex people because they're people. We're all complex. Not to say either of us have ever been as like ghoulish as Hogan, but like there's shit we've both done that we regret because we're complex people. We learned, we grew. Hulk Hogan never did. Demonstrably never did. And to just sweep that aside so that you can be like, here's 25 5-star matches Hulk Hogan had, when like, does that actually fucking matter right now? Dude just died and you're trying to be like, oh, let's make a greatest wrestler ever case for him. Fuck you. Man, grow the fuck up. I say this is a dude in his mid-30s who lives at home and collects action figures and comics. You grow the fuck up. There are far more important things to discuss, and maybe they've been discussed to death, and maybe we didn't really need to talk about it. Maybe this doesn't add anything to the discourse. Maybe we're just pissing in the wind. But like, it's our platform, and I couldn't have typed this out on fucking Blue Sky or Instagram or whatever. Like, it feels like a lot of the discourse going around isn't helpful. I enjoyed the dunks on Thursday because there were some really good ones.
There was some really funny stuff posted.
Yeah. But after a few hours, it's just kind of like we're just retreading the same shit. And I don't know, man. I think Pork Sweats had a thread like he was a great chicken shit heel. He was also a racist. He was a hero to many. He was a villain to humanity. And Pork Sweat's thread boiled down to basically like, all I know is he's another complex figure in the perpetually fucked up world of pro wrestling. And that's the perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
I don't have any respect for Hulk Hogan. I was not a Hulkamaniac when I was a kid. I liked wrestling, which to a lot of my older relatives who knew that I liked wrestling meant that I must like Hulk Hogan. And I wasn't necessarily especially thrilled when I got Hulk Hogan related stuff for my birthday because I always liked Randy Savage more than him. I always liked Ultimate Warrior more than him. And isn't it kind of wild how in the end, there's way less evidence of Warrior being a piece of shit than there is Hogan? That's a fucking crazy thing to think about. I always liked, Sting more than I liked Hogan. I always liked Vader more than I liked Hogan. I always liked Flair more than I liked Hogan. I always liked Brett more than I liked Hogan. Diesel, Owen, for fuck's sake. Like Hogan was never my favorite wrestler. So I don't have like the attachment of like being there for like the end of the boom, like 89, 90, 91. Like I was born in 91. I can appreciate what he meant, but he was never like my guy. And maybe that's why I'm a little more willing to just be like, fuck this motherfucker. But there's no way to say it without acknowledging like, this is a monumental loss. And it should feel a lot worse than it does, but it doesn't because of the fucking actions and the words of the person who died. And to circle back, I'll say it again, to acknowledge his actions without his impact feels a little bit disingenuous because his impact is inherently lessened by his actions. And to address his impact without his actions for the same exact reason is disingenuous. Apparently, Dave Meltzer did an incredible obituary for Hulk Hogan. I don't know how the fuck he did that when the deadline was Friday morning. God bless Dave. So in this instance, I will say in that regard, someone much, much more qualified than me has already eulogized Hulk Hogan. But I think I'm more frustrated that the guy fucked his own legacy up so badly that I can't be like, man, rest in peace, Hulkster. Like it I'm disappointed in who he was because of who he should have been.
Yeah,
I
that's kind of what I was trying to say. Um, when you've got everything on the table that you could possibly want, and all you have to do is live your life like a decent person, and you just couldn't do that. It's just, yeah, it's I don't know, people. It's the quote from The Dark Knight that everyone knows, and it's so accurate so many times. Is you either die here or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And
unless you're
his
Roddy Piper, in which case when you die, people are like, haha, he waited until Hulkamania was completely fucked and said, see you later.
also, that's another thing. I mean, Roddy Piper's death and Hogan. He left a message on my voicemail, and it was so weird. He's like a ghost and shit like that. He was talking about. It's like that also was kind of pretty gross. I thought.
The Savage story after he died, also.
Was it the one where they met at the doctor's or something?
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah, yeah.
The story that he worked Andre and Andre died a couple of days later, despite the
Oh,
fact they worked the next year at WrestleMania.
yeah.
Just shit, what a fucking asshole, man. Like
I
again, the most
also,
sure thing slam dunk legacy you could ever want to leave in professional wrestling, he pissed it all away for nothing.
yeah, yep.
And I don't want to end on a downer, so I will talk really quickly. The Tokyo Sound Production Twitter page posted a picture of the Inoki 65th anniversary Blu-ray, like the packaging, and I was so worried that it was going to be one-to-one the old DVD set, which had a giant fucking like book style packaging, and this is the DVD case size box they've been doing the Blu-ray boxes in since way back with IWGP Complete Box Volume 1, which I am very relieved to see because it means I'm not going to have to try to put a Blu-ray set next to my Absolute Batman books in
Hmm.
my omnibus collection. Um, I that should be shipping soon. I I think the official release date is tomorrow. No, the official release date's Wednesday. So if CD Japan does their thing, it should ship tonight or tomorrow. I'm obviously very much looking forward to getting that because it's Inoki and it's sat in the packaging stage for a couple of days now. But yeah, it's been a week. Somehow this episode has not been as long as I thought it was going to be, which is impressive. I really thought like by right now we would be talking about like more Comic Con related stuff, but as much as there wasn't as much as I thought.
No,
And
it's pretty easy to get through.
yeah, even with my endless bitching about how bad the Mattel line has become, and I don't have a whole lot of optimism for it going forward. Um, fuck, is there anything else?
I'll just make a recommendation for everyone. Stardom had a Korakuen Hall show a few days ago, and they put the whole show up for free on YouTube. It actually aired live for free. There's an Azumi versus Bozilla match for the New Japan Strong Women's title. Go check that match out. It's crazy. Bozilla's a big lady who uses a lot of power moves, and she uses them against Azumi. And Azumi finds a way to reverse things and pull tricks out of a bag of tricks and do crazy shit. It's a very fun match that the Korakuen whole crowd was very much into. So yeah, everyone should check that out.
Oh, did you see they're doing Kenta versus Marufuji for the GHC heavyweight title again?
I did not. That's interesting.
Yeah, so Ozawa lost the belt to Keno, and then the next day Kenta beat
Yeah.
Keno for the belt. And I guess Marufuji came out and challenged him for the GHC heavyweight title. So, you know,
It could be good. We'll see. I mean, it'll be interesting how that draws. Apparently, like the G1, like what the not the last show, but the show before that, like was down like 1,000 fans from the previous year, and like the Natsupoi and Soriano show anniversary show had like double what the New Japan show had the other day, which is kind of crazy. So New Japan seems in like a rough spot. Maybe they shouldn't have got rid of Naito.
I mean, he was one of the most reliable draws the company had. Also, like, if Goto lost the belt because he got injured, okay, whatever. If they took the belt off Goto to put it on Zack Sabre Jr., because well, we need to have the belt on Zack for fucking London, then this company is incredibly fucking stupid.
It
Um,
also because of Street Fighter, right? Because he's supposed to be E Honda, so God, I can't get over that. That's so weird.
why would you not just go get like Ryota Hama, who's an actual goddamn sumo
That's what
wrestler?
I
Looks like
thought
E Honda.
originally, but then I thought maybe he's just too big, and there's someone a bit smaller that they could have gone with, and I couldn't think of anyone.
Go get Takeshi Rikio.
What's he doing these days?
Fuck, I don't know, but he's got to be available to fucking play E Honda.
You know who could have done it, but obviously his past, but for Yuki would have been an interesting choice for E Honda.
Yeah, yeah. I'm terrified to try to find a link for that Kenta and Keno match because I hate the Noah English announcers. They suck.
Oh yeah.
Like I always go back to it, but when Nakajima does the Northern Lights bomb to go on New Year's a couple of years back, like calling it the Emerald Flosion, like go fuck yourselves.
I need to watch the Stardom show from today. They started the 5-star Grand Prix, and it was a 17-match show.
I think I found the Japanese commentary version of Kenta versus Keno, so
Oh, that's good.
I might give that one a shot. Someone in the Freem server who's I don't think I've ever necessarily disagreed with their takes on wrestling implied that those two just beat the shit out of each other, which is probably the exact thing I want from Keno versus Kenta in the year 2025.
Sounds about right.
Um, God, I pop open Instagram real quick just to see if anybody's revealed any figures, and it's just people like, oh, Holster, I love you, and like, man, ugh. Oh, we
Yeah.
didn't talk about Latuni.
Oh yes, the one
So
person who never
Latuni's,
disappoints.
yeah, honestly, this guy makes stuff for the sickos. Um, so are these wrestling tune stars like 8-inch or 5-inch scale?
I have no idea. I think they don't look very good, but I think it's an interesting idea.
I get what he's going for, like the Hulk Hogan rock and
Yeah.
wrestling. Oh, 5.5-inch scale. $40 though. Uh,
Yeah. Bless him though.
yeah, I mean, the Inoki, maybe. I also listened to his justification for the Inoki articulation and it made me giggle. Like,
What'd you
oh, if you
say?
do stop motion, like, motherfucker, nobody's doing
What?
LJN stop motion. Get out of
What?
here.
Then what about your other LGN type things then? What about the stop motion for them? That's a
Yeah,
real
he
pull
said,
out sleeve.
like,
That's really bad.
it, he said, like, there won't be articulation on every figure. And I was like, buddy, you can just outright say, like, um,
The other figures didn't have character product.
yeah,
That's really good. I've changed my mind. That's not bad. That's hilarious.
like, you can just say you 3D scanned a Kara Pro and couldn't get somebody to remove the articulation in ZBrush, despite the fact that, like, clearly alterations were made to, like, the head and the face and the chin and stuff from the original figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very dumb. It's
You
very
really think he went through their family as well? His family, I should say.
I
Sorry,
don't fucking think so.
because like I don't know. You think of like all the possible brands that could have had like Inoki stuff, and he's the one to get it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's very funny to think that on that live he talked about like his dad was a huge Inoki fan, and I was like, fuck. How? I don't know. Like God bless him. Like he's out here, he's doing stuff.
yeah, he's
He's
doing things that are
making
so
things.
so different than anyone else. I mean, also like it's just like segments too, like the animal um workout segment and shit like that. You know, it's just like nobody else would have thought of doing anything like that. So good on him for like at least thinking outside the box. I mean, if anything, we sort of need more people like that.
I will say though, doing that animal and having articulation in the arms where it looks like he's meant to be curling when it's supposed to be based on a bench press like
Yeah.
competition, that's strange. I
Well,
don't like that.
yeah, messed up physics. What can I say?
He probably doesn't care about the difference, which I don't fucking blame him. That's
No.
most of the people involved are not going to care that it's not the right deal anyway. But he does do interesting stuff, and we need more. And we talked about earlier, like that's another fucking part of that LJN boom that we're getting, which you know, and Rush, eventually
Oh God.
is going to steal people's money again for some LJN figures.
I did see his Phantasmo, and I was like, that's not bad, but like, why would anyone give him money at this point?
Yeah, I don't. I there's no way. Oh, apparently KWK just posted the Laredo Kid and Sam Adonis prototypes. If that does anything for you.
Nope. I mean,
Yeah,
Laredo Kid was all right last time I saw him, which was a while ago.
yeah, it's also the white and gold that Boss Fight Studios did. So if you
Uh,
wanted a Laredo Kid in that gear, I would imagine you'd probably want a Laredo Kid that goes with your current
yeah.
action figures, and not like that's another thing we've talked about a bunch. Like with the Mattel retros going for more current stars. What is the market actually for like these like contemporary stars in the style?
Yeah, I don't know. Or like, is there anyone that's waiting for like, boy, I can't wait for the next retro line to have more current people? Like, is that a thing? Like, I don't I don't really see people talk about that.
I
And how far are
guess,
they
like
gonna
I said,
go
I
with it?
get it. Yeah, that's another good point. I guess I get it. Like I said, if that Bloodline 4 pack for Ringside really did well,
Mm-hmm.
and I suppose because like I remember when the first series came out, I was like, oh, Brock and Roman and uh, Cena and fucking Kevin Owens in this style, and that's kind of neat. Like there's a novelty to it, but like, and I guess there's a certain novelty to like you get the Cody because he's like the top guy, even though they cut his fucking nuts off and they've killed any chance he had of being a real money drawing motherfucker ever again. I guess there's a novelty to getting the Punk if for no other reason than he's got like the Papa Shango tattoos, where there's like it's just like the design, there's no color. I guess there's a novelty to having Paul Heyman and Jey Uso, but how deep into the current like Logan Paul, like why would you do him? Who cares? How
Well,
deep into that roster can you really get?
also you look at the rings that they've released, like the first one was, essentially a rip off of the original Hasbro ring, and then you had the Royal Rumble ring, which came with Brother Love, which is still like, a nostalgic thing. It's like if you're making all these current wrestlers, you're gonna make more current based rings too. Like, it's I don't know, it just
And
feels
what
like
is
a
that
waste of
ring going to
time.
look like? Because the ring posts are going to have to be different. The announce tables already look like current announce tables, so that is what it is.
Yeah.
And like I don't. I'm sure there are people on wrestling figs losing their minds for this stuff, but the only one I saw and they did have the hand painted prototypes of Cody, Jesse, and Punk in the case. They're on Ringside's Instagram, I think. The only one of those I saw and was like, that's a like genuinely good figure was Cody, and I
Yeah,
kind of don't give a shit about having it. So, like, if you get into the weeds, like if you redo Sheamus, are people gonna care?
I don't think so.
If you do a Rusev, are people gonna give a fuck? If you do an Aleister Black, are people gonna give a fuck? Rhea Ripley, you might be able to do, but is that just going to be a repainted China body?
I think current fans only care about like the modern figures. I just don't feel like retros would have any appeal to them, but
I
maybe I'm
don't
wrong.
either. And like we had talked briefly the other day about like a potential AEW retro line, and like ugh, the idea of that, like who's buying? Like all due respect, I'm a big fan. Who's buying a Kyle Fletcher retro?
Yeah, it's very much like the big rubber guys, right? Like the most obvious one is Sting. Like that's what you'd want for that line. And yeah, I don't think I would want anybody current in AEW in that line either. It's like even far as legends, like what would you do?
I mean, Owen already got done as a shop PWT's exclusive, which is
Right.
basically just shop AEW. And that was like the thing, like bring up the possibilities. Zombie would be the obvious one just because of the shop AEW connection. And apparently, they didn't say this explicitly, but apparently, the major deal was done through shop AEW. So they
Hmm.
have experience working with Zombie, and that might not be true. That's just what I had read. Um, Also, apparently, the deal got done like right around when they announced it. It all came together really quickly. Like
Oh,
zombie AEW sounds neat, but like I don't know how many people like I would zombie Sting. I sign me the fuck up. The
I
rest
think
of them though,
he could do cool stuff with the current ones though, because he does like bloody figures and stuff like that. So you could
mm,
have like Hangman and Moxley, for example, with like all the accessories and stuff, which would be cool visually at least. If Mattel's pretty boring with that sort of stuff, like they don't do anything special, and Zombie, adds all the accessories. So I think there's something there. Um, and I think for AEW, it would be a good idea to branch out from Jazzwares, like if at all possible, have um the major group doing the big rubber guys, and then possibly Zombie doing the retros. I think that's a really interesting way of doing things, and to have all your figures in a different style, under different brands, I think is kind of a smart move, to be honest.
and also Tony Khan became a wrestling fan in 1991. That motherfucker had Hasbro figures.
It's weird. He hasn't. You think it would have been like a big video game guy too, and it doesn't seem like he has really any interest. But not everyone grew up playing video games, so
Yeah, like when he would talk about the AEW game, he would talk about what the game was going to be like. He never talked about, like his memories playing the Nintendo 64 games, which I thought
yeah,
was interesting.
yeah. I remember him like, "Oh, I played the ladder match and it was really fun or whatever." And it's like, I thought he would have had more to say, but like I said, not everyone. You sort of assume like everyone from our just grew up playing all these games, and some people just didn't.
Yeah. And for the obligatory AEW games thing, again, Mike Straw made the tweet a few weeks ago that there's been movement. And that was basically the last thing I talked to the person I've been talking to in AEW about is like there's probably going to be an announcement next year.
I hope
So
so. I
yeah,
hope.
apparently lessons were learned. So whatever that
Well, I hope
means.
I hope it just means getting Dukes back into the fold as well, because I don't think going with a new developer is gonna. At the end of the day, I don't think it would be a positive. I think having Dukes and their experience already working on Fight Forever and numerous games they have, and just sorting things out with them and mending bridges, I think would be the best way to go. And I think maybe Dukes needs it too, because I do not see anyone saying anything positive about Double Dragon.
every complaint I've seen is basically just the art style. I don't know if anybody's actually gotten hands on it yet. The gameplay doesn't look like the problem. It's just the game looks really uninspired, like visually.
Yeah, I don't know about the gameplay, and I guess we'll see. But I
It
don't know.
very
Also,
much looks like a 2010 Xbox Live Arcade game.
I just think to me, like the idea of I don't think there's much value in doing a Double Dragon game now. I feel like it's something of the past that you. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right to do a new Double Dragon. Like I'm not saying it can't be done. It's just like I don't think anything that's like hit the sweet spot yet. Like the closest was probably Double Dragon Neon, and I think everything else that they've done just feels like, this kind of isn't what I want.
A lot of the Japanese companies are starting to see value in like reviving old
Yeah,
IPs.
right.
That's probably the entire reason. And also,
Sega
Yuke's had a
especially.
yes. Sega's go, dude. That Shinobi game looks amazing. Oh my god, I can't wait to play that thing. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound drops this week too, which
Oh
three
yeah,
Ninja Gaiden games in 1 year. That's fucking wild. Would have never guessed that.
like, yeah, absolutely.
Um, but yeah, Ukes is in a weird spot because there was something that was being developed by I think it was the team in Yokohama. Brian Williams said this like 5 years ago now, and we've never learned what that was, but it was wrestling related. And we know that AEW owns the source code, which is great. You own the foundation of the house, but I would probably go get the people that were building that house to finish it.
Right. Yeah.
Um, there's also the possibility they get really wacky and try to how do I put this? They try to get people together that can maybe try to make sense of it, but again, I'd rather just have Ukes. One of the big rumors I've seen lately is that the publisher is going to be Acclaim.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jeff Jarrett, ain't he great? Um, we don't know what this incarnation of Acclaim is like in terms of the ability to get games actually into physical stores, which very much still is an important aspect. Also, I was talking to Ray when the LJNs were revealed, and he was like, "Does this mean they have the LJN engine?" And I was like, "I wish." But that Throwback Entertainment company that I think sold Acclaim to whoever it was that Jeff Jarrett's involved with, they would have been the ones that own the rights to all of those old WWF home console games and the ECW ones too. So whoever holds the rights to Acclaim in that library, they could re-release those games. They just have to do the proper licensing agreement, which is why we're never going to get them.
It'd be wild if like there was a game within the AEW game and it was just like Raw, but it was AEW.
Yeah, I mean, there were a bunch of off the wall ideas that are never going to like actually be publicly confirmed to have existed, but there was at one point when they were really confident that Fight Forever, before it even had that title, before that game had ever come out, they were really confident it might do well, which is funny because that's like 2021. By 2022, everybody knew like, oh, we're fucked. Um, there were plans to do like a retro style AEW game if there was demand for it. Because if you remember on the AEW games thing when they revealed, at the time untitled console game, they did the little like bullshit 16-bit like kind of parody thing. And
Right.
they saw people react on Twitter like, oh, that would be a really cool thing to get, like a classic style AEW game. There were discussions. So like, and honestly, if you do partner with Acclaim, it makes all the sense in the fucking world to shove out like an Xbox Live. It's not even Live Arcade anymore, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Like shove out like a digital only game that's like $15-$20 with like 16 or 18 of the AEW wrestlers, and like fucking here you go. Like imagine a game in that style, like, and you get to see what a fucking Rainmaker looks like in that gameplay style.
It'd be so weird, but very cool just to see what it would end up like.
Yeah, and then there's like the whole debate of this hypothetical game where like, would you do pixel art? Would you just do 2.5D, which probably would be the easier way to go? But I know that like I was told, and someday Mike Straw will probably, if he ever discovers this podcast, will take issue with this. I was just told at one point, like 2021, there were talks of like people really like the art style in Elite GM. People really thought the little bit we did with the AEW Games 2.0 was funny. Like we might, or 1.0, 2.0 was 2 show, the little show they did every few weeks or months to tell you that they didn't have any updates on the fucking console game. But there was absolutely talks of like, could we do maybe like a side game? And obviously hasn't happened. So probably there were other mobile games pitched too. I never heard any details of, but apparently like when Elite GM did kind of well for like a month or two, they were looking at like what can we do with this space, and then you know Elite GM had those couple of expansion packs and then a stealth update, and then it just died. Now it's delisted, which is a shame because it was fun. It was a fun little game. I think that Figure Fighters game is gone now, but all of the NFT figures you collected, you can still look at them. So yay. It also feels like if they start winding up all of the mobile games, it might mean that they're done with the investment in those, and they might be looking towards something else.
Right.
So, like I said, I was told like if anything's going to happen, probably next year is when it would be announced, and they're not. And even just saying that, like an announcement next year, that would have to mean something's in the works right now because they're not going to. It was said, like Mike Straw mentioned it, and it was said explicitly to me, this game is not going to be announced. We're not going to have a 3-year fucking hype cycle this time. This game is going to be announced, and it's going to be like, they didn't say 3 months, but like, just as an example, it's going to be announced first trailer, and then we're just going to bombard you for 3 months. And then the game's going to be out. So whenever that happens, like whenever we get that initial announcement and trailer, if what everybody has said is true, it should not be very long after that initial trailer. And the phrase used when I asked is lessons were learned. What that means in terms of the creation suite, the story mode, what it means in terms of any of that, I don't have a fucking clue. But
more
you already have. Oh Jesus! But like, look at it this way: they spent, the number fluctuates from what I've heard between 25 and 45 million on the game, and you have that base, which is a fucking tremendous base. If you put a similar budget on top of that, you're going to get real close. Like similar budget and like focus your priorities, you're going to get much closer to what people wanted Fight Forever to be. With that kind of money, with that kind of like foundation. If they did like a $40 million budget on that game, on that foundation, and the game still lacked content, I would have a lot of questions. Like, granted, you're gonna have to make a whole bunch of new character models for all the guys and gals that weren't in the first game, but that's not going to eat up your entire budget. New move animations, that's going to be. Honestly, the budget would pretty much just be move animations and create a wrestler parts. That's where a lot of your money is going to go with that game. But I've played a bunch of Fight Forever the last few months. It's a legitimately fun game. I really enjoy it. I didn't have like Melon Bread saying like it was basically World Tour. Like that's the perspective I should have had. But like they came out so strong with this is going to be the game everybody wants, and then they never dialed it back. You can't do that the first time out. you really can't. And they learned, and we're where we're at now, and that's all good. But I don't think we have anything else. I think we actually have talked about everything.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, this was a long son of a bitch, but it wasn't as long of a son of a bitch as I thought it was going to be. So that's a bonus. It's still a whopper of an episode. I'll be able to record next Sunday. We can figure out a game. Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, next Sunday is the first weekend in August. August 05 is when Fire Pro Returns came out.
Okay, let's take a look at that. I want to try that the matchmaking mode or whatever it was called again. I'd love to try that again. So
yeah, that's always a fun little thing to dick around with. So yeah, that's next Sunday. which it's crazy we're giving ourselves 7 days for a game as massive as Fire Pro returns, but it's been 20 years. We played that game to death. I could do a Fire Pro returns review in my fucking sleep. So until then, take care. Don't be an asshole. Right wingers suck. Go read a comic book or something. I don't fucking know. Bye.
One.